EAGLES, Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Monday morning edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen. Hope everybody had an awesome Easter weekend and is ready to lock in, folks. We are 17 days now from the 2026.
17. Wow.
Yep.
Last
Johnny
week
Mack
screwed me up.
Yeah, man, 17 days. I can't believe it. 2.5 weeks, J-Mac, and the draft's going to kick off, and the really is the big time where you start to gear up for the next season. So how you doing this morning, John, on a Monday morning, my friend?
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm like, oh, I got to get back into the draft. So bogged down in soap operas last week. Mm-hmm. Telenovelas for the Spanish people. With all the Jalen Hurts and yada, yada. Oof, already tired of that. And here comes the draft. Just screaming down the road at you, which I'm glad. I'm glad it'll somewhat get back to football. Hopefully.
Yeah, well,
we can't avoid it, though.
And we got Kerr today. We didn't have Kerr last Monday, so we're going to have to get his spin on what he thought of all the latest in Eagle. And we'll talk to him about that a little bit.
Jeff Kerr's got some big news, too. Some big
I saw that news from Jeff Kerr. So we're gonna intro that correctly. You might have to give me a little bit on that real quick beforehand, but 17 days out, John, this might just be the world, the bubble in which I'm living, but I'm seeing a lot more wide receivers getting mocked to the Eagles. Is that based on any real information? You call it, there's people who don't know, who guess, and then there's people who get NFL information and build mock drafts around that. These seem to me like people that maybe aren't in the know mocking receivers to the Eagles, but anything you're hearing as we inch closer to the NFL draft here, John, and where the Eagles might go here in round one?
Well, I don't know who you're speaking of in the mock draft realm, but you could kind of, judge by the names, I guess. But
just for example, reading Bleeding Green Nation this morning, where Brandon Lee Gowton writes for NFL.com, Kyle Lemon had him at 23.
I think what it is the presumption again around the NFL that AJ's not going to be here. So the presumption of a lot of people is, well, AJ's not going to be here, so they need a receiver. That's all it is.
Right.
Nothing more than that. And remember, June 1st, draft night, August even. Doesn't matter if you're operating with the intent of, well, we know he's not going to be here. You're more likely to draft a wide receiver. That's all it is. And look, I think they're going to draft a wide receiver in the first 2 days. I'm not leaning that way in the first round still, but that's part of my own personal bias in that I don't love the first round guys, to be honest. Not that I just don't think they're that different from the second round guys.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you on that after diving deeper into it. It doesn't – I'm with you.
And there's a lot of good players, and they're all good players. I'm not trying to – but the point is the guys who are – with the exception of Carnell Tate for me, the guys in the first round don't distance themselves from – the guys in the second round. So I think the value is there more in the second round. That's just my personal opinion. And as we get closer, I'll check in with some people I know down there. And, I tend to get at least a little bit of a hint, which it'll become clear. And when I do my one and only mock draft, it'll become much clearer. But, that's my perception on the wide receiver. As far as why everybody's shifting in that direction, I think a lot of people there's this weird dichotomy of people that sort of like the Eagles and don't want to believe AJ's gone. And the reality may be catching up to those people, but that's just speculation.
Yeah, it seems like speculation, but it does seem like that even if you turn a blind eye and you think AJ's going to be here, I mean, it does seem like this is obviously heading in a certain direction. We'll see where it ends up, Johnny Mac. A fresh new week here on Birds 365. You mentioned we got Jeff Kerr, so we'll get Jeff Kerr on in a little bit. Very exciting, John. Jeff Kerr is now writing. We'll obviously talk to him about this as well, but he is going to do some writing for Sports Illustrated, right, alongside you for the Eagles.
Yeah. He's actually publishing the site. So Jeff is technically my boss. It's sort of like you're my boss. I'm the talent. I'm just specifically talent. And I use that self-deprecating. So,
well, is that a good thing for you that you don't have to manage the publishing part? Because I understand that part can sometimes be very tedious, annoying, bothersome.
I want no part
That's
of
what I mean. Now you can focus on writing, and then it gets posted and handled from there.
Yeah. Well, I have to post it, but and that I mean, legitimately, you got to jump through the hoops and have meetings with sport and all that bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Which I want no part of. So Godspeed to Jeff, and hopefully it goes well for him. But no, big step for him. So I'm happy for him. Doesn't change my role, at least projected. You never know in this industry, but
that's the truth, Jim. Yep.
It doesn't change my role, as at least I'm told. So we'll see how it works out, as with everything in life. But so you have us both, best of both worlds, and hopefully Ed will be involved as well. I'm not sure, and they're still working on that. But happy for Jeff, happy for me that my role is going to change. So
Johnny,
there you go.
Yeah, you're a classic, Johnny Mac. All right. So we're going to talk to Jeff. Looking forward to doing that. We'll see what he has to think. We'll see what he thinks of. John, you mentioned it last week. Was a total soap opera. It really was a soap opera. I mean, you have one article after another. You had the Jeff McClain article. Me and you never talked about the Jeff McClain article because that came out, I think, on Thursday. And I obviously didn't do the show on Friday. Apparently, everybody learned that my name is Alexander James, and they've had
I was like, I never put that. That's bizarre. I never put two and two together.
That's amazing to me that you didn't.
I mean, it's not like I pondered it, but I just it made so much sense after I heard it, and I'm like, wow, what the hell? Why didn't I put that together? Because I'm older, obviously, so when I see more unique names, I just think, well, younger people get more unique names,
right.
And I don't think about it. So, that's basically all it came down to. But
I like my full name. I had no problem with
and then Krause just started the show with it. I'm like, whoa, just threw me. It was a curveball. Threw me.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah, well, he was the one who said he's not going to be Alex. He's going to be Zander. That was my dad. My dad was the one who did not want me to be an Alex. He wanted me.
Well, there we go. See, so it is. We wanted more uniqueness. So, it works. But I just said, does he call you Alexander when he's mad at you?
And my dad, we don't fight like that anymore. I don't know. My dad, I didn't grow up really with I gotta be my dad does the stern, he disciplined, but we had a great relationship, me and my dad, my whole life. So no, I don't know. I don't really view it like that. Did he say that when he was mad at me? I don't think so. I think he maybe said it when he loved me. Yeah, I love you, Alexander. Maybe something like that, John.
All right, there we go. So you learn something new every day.
There you go. All right, good stuff. All right, guys, as we inch closer here to the NFL draft, I'm still in the camp, John, of offensive tackle. Now, I want to give everybody a quick recap of what's kind of going on just from a team building standpoint this offseason. Obviously, the key departures, everybody. Jalen Phillips, Reed Blankenship, Nakobe Dean, Sidney Brown, and Jahan Dotson. Those are your five big departures for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Phillips lands in Carolina with the Panthers. Reed Blankenship lands in Houston with the Texans. Nakobe Dean goes to Vegas with the Raiders. Sidney Brown gets traded over to the Atlanta Falcons. And Jahan Dotson signed with the Atlanta Falcons as well. So two former Eagles now with the Atlanta Falcons. And then coming in, I guess Jordan Davis isn't coming in. Neither is Dallas Goedert. But those are new deals that were done. Tariq Woolen coming in, Marquise Brown coming in, Andy Dalton, Arnold Ebiketie, Braden Mann signed an extension, so that's not a new addition, but an extended there. And then Johnny Munt, Marcus Epps, and Elijah Moore. So that's kind of your offseason roster building look right now, John. And I don't think it looks as bad on paper as I guess it did when it happened in free agency and you're losing Phillips and Reed and Nakobe. You're like, holy crap, this defense is getting purged. Now that you look at it on paper, I don't think it looks too bad. But they definitely do have to recoup that defense, John. It's the second straight year of pretty big departures on the defense. So I know we've talked a lot about they need to kind of retool the offense, but I think the defense needs some work as well, too. And I'm sure Howie will get that done. Probably edge rusher. I just don't know where it's going to come,
Well, throw in Joe Tryon, Chandler Martin as the two most recent sort of Tamu-ish signings. But, yeah, I mean, well, I try to warn people in the heat of the moment when you lose a Jalen Phillips. Oh, you got worse today. Well, worse today on March 11th is not really relevant because you have all the stages to go through. And that's the one position where you look at, all right, they need to do something. Safety as well. And Howie admitted they're going to add probably multiple bodies at safety still. Yeah.
He was pretty open about that, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I mean that's the whole point. It's not a finished product, and the larger perspective of the building is built around what's coming, which I know frustrates people because you want that immediate gratification, and but if you do that, think about it in your own life. If you want whatever, some kind of luxury item, and then hey, you got a balloon mortgage payment and you can't afford it because you bought the luxury item that isn't all that relevant, and all of a sudden you lose one of the big time players you don't want to lose. Right. So it's still coming. Jaylen Carter's still coming. Jordan Davis got done. You saw what that cost. That was more than we all thought. Yeah. Way more. Quignon's going to set the market. I'm convinced of that, unless something horrible happens, which you can't project, but it doesn't look, I mean, he looks rock solid. Cooper DeJean's going to be set the market for nickel corners. I can tell you that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, on and on you go with what if Alex Hunt breaks through this year?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have forgotten about Nolan Smith, but the same thing can happen with Nolan Smith. So all these dominoes are still set to fall, and they're going to be top of the market deals. And that's the reason why you have this demarcation line where you have to make those tough decisions. You want to keep them all. They wanted to keep Mel Williams. They wanted to keep Jalen Phillips. They wanted, they kind of were. They understood they couldn't keep Nakobe Dean. They understood they couldn't keep Reed Blankenship, which is the one I kind of say, maybe there should have been adjustment there because it was a little bit cheaper than everybody thought it was going to be. At least,
and Howie almost admitted to that as well. I mean, which was kind of surprising to hear.
Yeah. They thought he was going to be an 8-figure player, 10, 11, $12 million. And he ended up getting 8.25. But
how do you read that? Does that read to you like the agent never even came back to Howie to tell him what the Texans deal was?
No. I'm sure
they just didn't factor it. So then when they had the opportunity to potentially match or beat it, they weren't ready to do it.
Well, it's about they had a plan. So, there's multiple balls in the air. So if right. You take one ball out of the air and say, oh, I thought this, and then maybe you have another ball in the air and it disrupts that ball. That's kind of what happened with Reed Blankenship. So, at some point after the process, I tend to get the names of who they were interested in and all that. And it there's probably going to be a name that surprises you that was pretty expensive that they didn't get. And if you pull that ball, maybe it was still on the table and you pull that ball of Reed Blankenship and that's not what you wanted. So sometimes it's not an easy job.
Yeah, no doubt. John, has your thought process on Jaylen Carter changed at all? I mean, I'm in the camp of you got to pay that player, but boy, that owner comment is just ringing in my head about him, man. I can't. I'm sorry. Maybe I have a bad read on it, but to me, it almost sounded like the nicest possible way to indict somebody, like to indict in turn. I guess that's not a good word to use, but not show a glowing praise of the player. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's getting, potentially get $35-40 million. I mean, I don't know. That kind of changed my thought process, or at least made my ears perk up of like, all right, what are the Eagles going to do here with Jaylen Carter? That might not be as clear cut as we thought.
Well, I think they're going to re-sign him, but I think it's a more difficult negotiation than people realize because of the season he had last year. Jeffrey could have handled it better and said, how do you think he played? I think was the question basically. And he said, good. He could have said, well, obviously he had some physical issues and didn't play up to his standard. He could have said something like that, which would have been better.
Part of me thinks Jeffrey's calculated it enough to know that, and maybe that was a little bit of negotiation.
Well, if you listen to the whole thing, it was that weird. Like Tim McManus was asking about Jalen Hurts, probably for the story that was coming out about his contract, and Jeffrey thought it was Jaylen Carter. And then it went back, and he said, like we were talking about, and then he said, "Well, I meant Jalen Hurts," and it was just awful.
It was a weird interaction, but part of me was like, "Hey, it's because Jaylen Carter's top of mind for Jeffrey Lurie. He just got
because they're negotiating now,
exactly,
and they're not negotiating with Jalen Hurts. So they're trying to work out a deal, but the problem is, Drew Rosenhaus still wants to set the market, and they're probably going to set the market. But what does that look like? Does that look like 32 million? Does it look like 35 million? Does it look like 40 million? And the Eagles, after last season, are probably trying to say, all right, we'll put them at the top just ahead of Chris Jones, but that's it. And they probably want significantly more than that. Just a guess, but that's probably what's going on. And, I don't know how many times I've said it. Probably people are sick of it, but really way too many people forget it's a two-way street. You need two people to agree to these deals. And Jaylen Carter might want to bet on himself. I doubt it when you get to that money, but there's going to be some back and forth with numbers. Milton Williams, I can tell you the Eagles were trying to extend him, and he just said, no, I'm going to get to play, and I'm going to show you what I can do.
Yeah.
And he hit a home run. And there's an example of the two-way street aspect of it. And sometimes that's a big, like Moro Jomo might be in the same category. It's like they'll try to get something really team friendly, and he probably won't accept it because he's like, I'm going to get paid. Most likely.
Yeah. I mean, what can I ask you? Did we blow this up too much though, in terms of the what the cost of this is going to be? Like 40 million came into play, and I don't really know how. I'm looking at the top contracts for defensive tackles in the NFL. I mean, there's nobody close to 40 million. Are we sure it's going to get the 40 million? I mean, I know that's kind of what happened with the edge rusher, but
the
top guy is Chris Jones at 31.75.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's what the Eagles are working on. And I'm sure not 40, but I'm sure
Jordan's right up there with Milton. Jordan and Milton are in the top 5.
I'm sure Drew Rosenhaus is asking for 40, and they're, probably want to settle at 32, and, he wants it and inch it up to 35, 36, wherever he can go with it. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people throw out those numbers or just do it off the top of their head, and they're not looking at the actual list of, highest paid interior defensive lineman. But again, you look at what Jordan Davis got. Like that was incredibly off what we all expected. I mean, incredibly Like,
yeah, he's like the second highest paid DT in football.
And we're all looking at the nose tackles, and we're all looking at Travis Jones, who was the last one. And they decided to pay him like a defensive tackle, a 3-down defensive tackle. Now, there's not that. We all know what Jaylen Carter is, so it's more straightforward. There's no projection other than health, and that factors into it as well. That's a big part of this. I mean, PRP therapy, the Eagles might have created this with the way they used them as well, which I'm sure Drew Rosenhaus is using against them. How much they played them in the Super Bowl season. We're hyper focused on, what is those touches going to do for Saquon Barkley? And then, we've used it with the offense. Well, look what the style of play did to Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. Same thing on defense with Jaylen Carter. Look what it did to Jaylen Carter, at least for one season. Young enough to hope he can bounce back, but that's got to be in the equation a little bit, because he was not the same guy last year. Simple. Not the same guy.
Yeah.
That's why you got the good, because he didn't want to say, well, it was actually pretty bad because.
What was his shoulder injury, John? Do you know exactly? Was it like a rotator cuff? What was it?
Well, no, it's just persistent pain in both shoulders,
Yeah,
which is even more.
I think people don't understand the time.
Both shoulders.
Now, this is a story, an example. Now, obviously, this is a very different, circumstance because the person I'm talking about here is not an NFL player. But my uncle he was a big, he was always a gym guy, worked out all the time, he was super ripped up. He had a big problem in his shoulder, 5-10 years ago. It completely changed, the last decade of his life in shoulders. He was pushing the bar up like this, and his bicep completely fell out. Literally, it fell into a ball. He had to get surgery, his bicep removed. Now he flexes his muscles. Bicep's not there. There's no bicep there. And he said it all tied in to both of his shoulders, the top of his rotator cuffs. He had pain for years. No pain, no gain. He acted like it was fine, kept working out. Now, again, that's not the perfect example because it is what it is, but I just say that in saying shoulders can be a big problem and a persistent problem if they're not handled correctly.
Well, they're a real big problem when you have to use your shoulders to fend off double teams all afternoon. I mean, look, they shut him down last year. Basically, that Chicago game was a crux point when he was just getting washed out, which is not Jaylen Carter. And then we learned he wasn't able to lift weights at that stage he wasn't able to lift weights. I mean, yeah.
That's what makes me nervous.
So, I mean, PRP treatment, which Jeffrey talked about a little bit, it used to be you have to go to Europe to do it. Seen it with Kobe Bryant, people like that. So, I mean, it's generally used to reduce pain, in injured joints, blah, 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 accelerate healing. Still saw him at Jordan Davis's contract extension, but we couldn't get near him. Haven't gotten any information that he had surgery. In a lot of ways, what you said would be more calming. Like, oh, we hurt his rotator cuff. We hurt his labrum. You fix it and you get back to work. I haven't heard any of that.
Right.
Just persistent pain in his shoulders, which in a lot of ways I think is worse.
Yeah.
Not in the moment, because that's, a torn labrum or a torn rotator cuff is much more serious, but you just fix it and you go through rehab.
Right, and you pinpoint the problem, you address the problem, and then onward.
Now, this sounds to me like it could be degenerative arthritis. And that's the kind of thing that puts red flags on people and say, well, this guy might be really talented, but the shelf life's probably not going to be as long as you would hope. And sometimes I'm in the mode of, and I'm always in the mode. It took me a long time to get there, but it's like just find good players and take advantage of the shelf life they have. That's where I am with the NFL. Because it moves so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting anybody to be there for 10 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of people had red flags on A.J. Brown coming out because of his knee, because of degenerative concern. That's why he went in the second round. DK Metcalf, his buddy, same thing. And neck injury, but people were concerned. That's why he went in the second round. They both lasted. Is it worth it for those picks? Fuck yeah. Just take advantage of it.
Right,
I'm not worried about 10 years in the NFL.
I guess it's a little different when you're talking about a situation like Carter, where it's, immediate and future,
Well,
drafting, I agree. Drafting, it's like, dude, maximize the player while you got him,
Yeah.
But a player like Jaylen Carter, and look, it also might go to Jaylen Carter's side. Well, why he's trying to get the maximum amount of money.
Well, yeah, of course. Of course. The guy we saw last year was not the same guy that we saw the year previously. It just wasn't.
Am I reading too hard into the Jeffrey Lurie comments that to me it seemed like he wasn't as thrilled with that play?
He definitely wasn't and then you compare with the over the top
praise of Jalen
Hurts. Yeah, it was, so that's why it stood out. But I think, basically, I don't know what PFF had him as. It was like 80th of the defensive tackles. 80th of like 127. 80 of 127. That's not Jaylen Carter. And it's because he wasn't healthy. So he didn't want to say, he played poorly. He said good, which I think he could have handled better, and they know why he didn't play the way he played. Well, so I don't think anybody doubts his ability. And even during it all, he was still a great pass rusher because of his quickness. What really set him back in those grades was his run defense, which he was getting blown off the ball consistently, which has never happened to him before. And it was only happening to him because he couldn't lift weights and he couldn't do imagine trying to stop the run in the NFL and your shoulders are shot.
And you can't lift weights, at all. You know your body, you're not going to be as strong, as stout as you need to be.
So against the run, he was 115 of 130. Pass rusher was still 13th of 112. So, it was all the run game. But he was getting obliterated, which is not Jaylen Carter. And they shut him down.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
When he came back, he was a little bit better, but he wasn't great.
No, he wasn't great. Let's go to one super chat here. Power Ranger, what's up, brother? Thank you, man, for being here, and thank you for the super chat today. He says this: I'm an electrician. I work overhead every day and work out. I've seen guys have to quit the field at 28 years old due to overuse. Carter needs rest.
Well, yeah, and that's, obviously he's going to get it in the off season. The problem is, and you have to be very disciplined, and it's hard to do because I went through this with Fletcher Cox. Every year they would say, we gotta manage his snaps better. And every year they come back and can't take him off the field because you're trying to win a game. So And you can imagine what kind of, if you're playing well defensively and then you're disciplined and you say, all right, Ty Robinson, go out there. This is your drive. And they go right down the field. And, you're saying, why the hell is Ty Robinson on the field? You got to be disciplined. You can't just throw the guy out there for 1,000+ snaps. And last year, by the way, he was on that same trajectory until they had to shut him down for the games. Even with, and by the way, that was probably one of the few things I'll criticize Vic about is, he was insulting him about his conditioning, essentially. Well, the guy can't lift weights and he's out there more than anybody else. I mean, what about their conditioning? He's still out there playing top 5 snaps amongst defensive tackles with no shoulders. That's pretty.
He's got to be pissed about all those snaps, Drew Rosenhaus.
Well, I don't. In the moment, probably not, because you win the Super Bowl. But I think in hindsight, which is 2020, obviously it wasn't prudent. But I'll tell you what. Look at all the snaps he played against the Rams. You needed every fucking one of them, or you're not going to the Super Bowl. So depends how you look at it.
That's very true. It's very true. All right, good stuff there. Good opening segment, guys. 17 days from the NFL draft. As we gear up, get ready for that. We got the great Jeff Kerr set to join us right here on Birds 365. The newest contributor here for Sports Illustrated will join us right here on Birds 365. We bring him in now. You guys can follow him on X at Jeff Kerr PHL. Jeff, you're glowing bright today, my friend. How you doing this Monday morning?
Yeah.
Wake me up when the draft's over. How's that, Zander?
There you go.
I forgot the draft existed.
Worst part of the season. I hate to say it. It just
wait. Why do you say that?
There's so many content creators out there, and there's so many people that know everything. I am always that guy. Tell me where they're going, and I'll tell you if they're going to be good or not.
The player, yeah. Well,
yeah, the player. I'm definitely
obviously. Yeah, more, Yeah, you can. I mean, obviously, Jeremiah Love is my favorite player in this draft.
Yeah, mine too.
I think he's the best player in the draft. Now, typically, you're not going to draft a running back number 1, understandably. And if he goes to Tennessee at 4, he's probably going to have a tough road of it. If he goes to Kansas City a little bit later, it's probably going to be pretty spectacular. New Orleans, who knows? With Tyler Shuck, I would lean more towards. Boy, people are jumping the gun on Tyler Shuck. I think a lot of promise, but I mean,
he had a good year last year. I'll give him credit.
He did, but I mean, you know how this league works. Look at C.J. Stroud. I mean, people adjust. Look at what we're talking about with Jalen Hurts. People adjust. They're gonna look at what you do well and do everything humanly possible to take that away. So I think people jump the gun on young quarterbacks. But to your point, and obviously quarterback being the main position, I mean, if you get to go with Andy Reid, it's a lot better than if you get to go with insert coach slapdick, I mean, I often wonder what would have happened if you think about that Donovan McNabb draft. Tim Couch, Keely Smith. There was a third one, and then
Kay McNown.
Yeah. Culpepper was pretty good until he got hurt, but I often wonder if Tim Couch or Achilles Smith got with Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb had to go to Cleveland, what it would look like.
And you know what was funny about that draft too? And I that's what I like about the draft, the process leading up to the draft with these teams. Like the Eagles had their eyes set on Donovan McNabb way before they even drafted him. And they said, he's going to be there. And because Cleveland's set on Tim Couch and we're going to get Donovan McNabb. And everybody's like, get Achilles Smith, get Ricky Williams, get Kay McNown, these guys are better. And Ricky Williams is a good player, but the Eagles didn't need a running back. They had Deuce Staley. And I think Champ Bailey was the best defensive player in that draft. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went 4th. So
yeah, that was a good pick.
Yeah, that was a good pick. But again, the Eagles didn't need corners either. So it just happened to fall in their laps. And like you said, John, he matched up with Andy Reid, and 5 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl later, it's turned the Eagles franchise around.
Yeah, I mean it was a heck of a pick, and that was the famous WIP, whatever they called it. What did they call
Dirty
it?
30.
And they went up.
30,
that
30.
was when the draft was still new. Boy, I missed the draft in New York, by the way. I missed the
I do
draft
too.
at Radio City. And everyone went up to boo them because they didn't draft Ricky Williams. I don't know if Andy got any apologies, but he should get apologies.
You know what? I know a certain radio host just decided to rip Andy Reid the entirety of his career. I mean, whether you have shtick or not, I don't care. It's that guy brought you the best 14 years of Eagles football until this current run.
Yeah, well, it was shtick. I mean, you do. I'm sure Andy's over it. That's the difficulty. You have to ignore the shtick and do what's best for your team, which is not always the easiest thing. But I guess I don't want to go down this route, but since we didn't have you last week, and you saw the soap opera, the latest is renewed
as the world turns, starring the Eagles and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and now it's more Jalen. Look, a lot of honesty in that piece by Jeremy Fowler and our buddy Tim McManus. These are things that we've been talking about for years. Look, he's not comfortable under center. He doesn't like a lot of motion. He likes a bunch of hitch routes. Nobody wants to listen to it. Maybe they'll start to listen to it. Is it a bad thing if people start to listen?
I don't think so. I always thought you want to play your quarterback's strengths, and I think he's earned the right to not want this, right? And John,
well, that I agree with. I agree with. But
yeah,
I do think there's this presumption of the Eagles' offense looks like this because of Nick Sirianni's a dummy and Kevin Patullo's a dummy. Like, I mean, if you want to criticize the offense, you can criticize those guys, but you also have to criticize the quarterback. I think
I would agree there. I don't like how there's this stouch defense of the quarterback when the quarterback's at fault too. And that's not a bad thing, by the way.
No.
This isn't a negative toward Jalen Hurts. That's what I'm getting tired of with today's media, today's generation. If you say something to criticize somebody, it's automatically a negative. Oh, you don't like that person. No, that's not it. You want to see that person be better. And look, I think Jalen Hurts has done a lot of great things, but I've also seen him have a reluctance to stir the middle of the field. Whoever it is, him or the Eagles, not running as much anymore. I think the strength of him is his legs. And for some reason last year, they didn't use that. Whether to preserve him or not, I don't know. Look, if I had to grade him last year, I didn't think he was that great. That doesn't mean he's not a great quarterback. He could have a great year this year. I thought he was great 2 years ago. What they asked him to be. I don't think we're ever going to see that 2022 version again, but at the end of the day, you see a guy who wins a lot of games, which I think is what this city ultimately cares about, at least the fan base.
Do they though?
Some do. Some do.
We thought we did until you get it, and then you see this.
Well, they get mad he's not Justin Herbert. Who gives a shit?
Well,
what the hell is Justin Herbert won?
I know, but this is the pushback on that, and I don't disagree with the line of thinking. But the pushback is okay. All right, Justin Herbert doesn't win as much. It's not the perfect situation. It's not the perfect comparison because it's a team game. What could the Eagles' offense be? A.J. Brown. Does A.J. Brown want out if the offense is run a different way? If Jalen was more willing to go under center and do some of the things that you're hearing that he doesn't want to do, does that change the outcome or the situation in which the team stands? I'm not saying whether it's on merit or not, but I'm just saying I think that's where people look at. It's always what could be instead of what is.
Yeah, but what could be? Look. Did people just not like the team up 40-6 with 5 minutes left of the Super Bowl? I don't know. It's so weird. And I'm
Well, they
glad
like
you guys
that, but
brought
you know
this
what they
up.
didn't like? They didn't like the leading the league in 3-and-outs last year. They didn't like scoring a measly 19 points versus a depleted San Francisco team in the playoffs. I think that's what they didn't like. But
Oh, I agree. But even 2 years ago, we had people say, "Well, he didn't throw for this many yards." I don't care. That's an arberary set.
yeah,
Drew
that's
Brees threw a lot. Drew Brees threw for a lot of yards. The Saints are also losing a lot because they had terrible defense. It's we're in this world where everything's about fantasy football and gambling, and nothing's about the actual results on the field anymore. It's not that you have to win; you have to win big now. And I just don't.
It's like college. You got to win with style points.
Yeah. You got to win sexy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just we're in a different society now. I try to ignore it as much as I can, but at the end of the day, give me 12, 13 wins.
Noise, Jeff, I agree with you. Ignore the noise, but this does seem like we just referenced a radio host Cataldi, obviously, who has shtick. Tim McManus isn't a shtick guy to me.
He's not.
So how do you gauge information in a piece like that? That's obviously from a credible person who doesn't just attach his name or write, bullshit to get clicks. How do you, gauge the information you get in that with what the Eagles are doing moving forward? They've hired Sean Mannion. They've hired what seems to be a scheme that they want Jalen Hurts to change to. It's not just fans who want him. Do the Eagles want what you just said? It seems like they're kind of doing the things, hiring the people to go to that. How do you?
No, I agree. And the thing is, like John said this before, the Eagles want to win a certain way. They don't like the way they win. They didn't like the way they won in 24 based on Jalen Hurts throwing for what? Maybe 120 passing yards, 150 passing yards. They want that Matthew Stafford Rams offense that, they won a Super Bowl, but I could say they won a Super Bowl 5 years ago. They couldn't beat the Seahawks in the playoffs running that fun offense, and the Rams were a fun team last year. They couldn't seem to beat anybody that was worth giving a you-know-what. But to me, I don't know. I'm just torn on when is enough, right? A.J. Brown got his last year, and the Eagles couldn't win a game. The Eagles threw the ball a lot last year, and they were trailing. That's not what I want to see. And look, and even in Tim McManus' piece, he said Jalen Hurts is adaptable and is willing to see those changes, to put in that work. Now, 4 games into the season, John, is he going to be as willing? Is he going to be willing to see the process out?
Well, the question to me is, are the Eagles going to be as willing? That's my concern.
That too.
But I have no problem with, and that's what they did. Like, there's a lot of revision with Kellen Moore because they won the Super Bowl, understandably so. The passing offense stunk that year as well.
Yeah, it did.
As a whole. Arguably, it was worse than last year. Arguably. If you look at how many of the poor games, and that's where all the A.J. Brown angst, and really you can go back to 2023, to be honest.
Yeah, 2023 was pretty upset too.
Well, it was the turnovers. When they went to higher volume passing, the turnovers were
well, that was 2023. The issue was turnovers. 2024,
first 4 weeks of Kellen Moore, though. Remember?
Well, but that was a short. So overall, they didn't, and they shifted, and they didn't turn it over at all. Which is how they went.
I remember that. I think I said on this show, Jalen Hurts is a turnover machine.
Yeah, he was. It wasn't a lie.
So you have this weird revision because they won the Super Bowl and they played well in the final 2 games offensively. And arguably, even the Super Bowl, it was all right. Yeah, you played well on paper, but when the defense, what was the score in the third quarter when they crossed the 50 for the first time? What was the score?
Yeah,
it was what? Still 24-0?
Yeah, it was 24-0. And half of that was generated by the defense. You had the Cooper pick 6. Turnovers.
The Eagles had a turnover too. The Eagles had a turnover.
The Eagles had more points in the first half than the Chiefs had total yards.
Yeah, with an interception, I believe, right? Yeah. There was an interception. Yeah.
It was a completely defensive dominated game, which everybody for some reason forgets. The point being, there's a lot of revision. Now, to me, that makes sense. Look, if you want to go through the off season, you got 9 weeks. If you want to work on this stuff, go under center more. If you want to work on more motion and integrating that into the offense, have at it. Even in camp, have at it. But when you get to the regular season, you got to go win games. And that means you got to build the offense around the quarterback, period. End of sentence.
Yeah.
I think phase one,
that's who you go with.
I think phase one, to have to convince him the running game's a big part of his skill set. And if he doesn't want to get involved with that, then you got to start thinking about the next chapter. You do. He's not going to be a pocket quarterback. I'm sorry.
I don't
He's
really
not
want
going to
to
be a traditional pocket quarterback. No, why would you?
Yeah.
Well, John, let me ask you this then. I mean, and I'm not saying this to try and call you out. I'm trying to gauge what your thought process is on it. You've often said, John, that it was unfair in 2024, the way that they bailed on the offense after 4 weeks. But you also say, like, why would you want to turn him into that? You know what I mean? So, like,
well, I don't think
that in some ways, I'm not saying you're being contradictory, but in some ways, isn't that thought process contradictory in the sense of, if they should have never done that in the first place, you know what I mean? Why go that route?
Only if you operate in extremes, which it seems like they want to go to an extreme level this year. Look, it's a tough balancing act, but I thought they got way too risk averse, and that impacted his passing. And really, the crux of that week 4, when they turned into a terrible passing offense. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad passing quarterback, but when you put those, dampeners on him and say, just go out there and don't turn the football over and we're going to win the game, and he embraces that and becomes so risk averse that it pisses off the star receiver, because when he is open, the ball doesn't come out on time, because God forbid there's a tip ball and there's an interception. Look, I don't know how you fix that. I'm not saying that's an easy fix, but I think his struggles as a passing quarterback were greatly amplified when they went to this extreme risk-averse mentality. Now, it's tough to get them to understand it because they won a Super Bowl, so I get it. But the people who thought that was going to continue, and they're obviously one of them, the organization, well, you saw what happened last year. They still didn't turn the ball over a ton. Now, they had to throw it more because they were behind. And everything I get, guys, this is the funniest thing. Everything I get about this offense, because it's all, well, you got to fix the passing offense. Sean Bannon is here to do this and do that. It's about the fucking running game. Because they know what screwed up last season was all the second and third and longs. And this 41 negative Saquon Barkley runs. And the 40% he got hit behind the line of scrimmage. That's what fucked up the season. And they believe.
And most quarterbacks aren't going to succeed on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11.
Nobody is. Nobody is. And they believe that if you get back into 2nd and 3rd manageable, everything else takes care of itself.
Well, would it be a fair thought process to think that if they got better in the passing game, it would make those runs more realistic on first down? I mean, because I think some people look and they're like, well, we've never really threatened people enough with the passing game that the defenses were able to play the run game differently, and that ultimately resulted in less effective runs on first down.
That's where the mentality of you have to know where your strength is comes into it. And I think they do, to be fair to them. They're not a high volume passing team. And I say it, they're not going to be a high volume passing team. If you want them to be a high volume passing team, go get a different quarterback. They're not going to be that team. So they know where their strength is, which I agree with. So if you heard Nick Sirianni gave these little couple Easter eggs. I wrote about this on Sports Illustrated, unless Jeff took it down.
I did not take it down. I haven't touched it yet.
So they sort of understood what was going on offensively and why the struggles were, and it was all related to the running game. Now, Nick was talking about all the junk looks that defensive coordinators give you in the passing game now, all the Vic Fangio stuff that Vic has made famous. And he said, and I think everybody was hyper-focused on that. And then at the end, he shifted. He said, this is what this offense does for the running game. So when they throw all that junk at us, because when you're in the pistol and the shotgun and Saquon's offset, they know he's limited in where he can go because he's offset. And they started, blitzing people, run blitzes, selling out, understanding. And he said, this offense helps you handle the junk in the running game. I think that's why Sean Mannion's here. More than the passing game. I might be the only one, but I think that's why he's here. And Nick has said it twice. And if I'm the only one who picked up on the Easter egg, we'll see. But I think I picked up on the Easter egg. It's about the run game junk, not the passing game.
I don't disagree with you, John. I just wonder if it's clogged drain, and the passing game needs to open up to unclog that drain a little bit.
Well, I don't think that's going to work. But hey,
I agree with you that it can't become the focal point. The run game has to remain the focal point, but the passing game getting going feels to me like that would be the best thing to get that going. Now I don't know, maybe that's contradictory in some regard, but I don't know.
I just don't think it's realistic from what I've seen.
I think the evidence would support that.
For instance, if you're going to pass the setup to run, well, you have to take advantage. The ball's out. You have to take advantage of those little hitch routes. You have to take advantage of, which nobody wants to hear again. You have to take advantage of slant routes. You have to do that little quick layup stuff. And I just don't see that as the strength of the quarterback. Like, I'm trying to build the offense around the strength of the quarterback, which I think is what everybody should do.
Yeah, but is that what Jeffrey Lurie's trying to do? Here's a comment I caught. I don't know if you called it an Easter egg like you just called yours, but he said this. The goal is a championship level offense or something in that regard. It wasn't. The goal is to optimize for Jalen Hurts. The goal.
I feel like he's been saying that offense for like the last 20 years.
Yeah, sure. I don't put much stock in what Jeffrey says, to be honest, because I think, while I think people think Nick is a puppet, I think Nick manipulates Jeffrey well. Like, and I'm gonna go win a football game.
Have we talked about the new stadium yet? Were there plans for one? I wrote about something like that last year.
Well, what do you think on it? I'll talk about it.
I think they want to host Final Fours and other things. And
makes sense. It's a business world, it's a business world. They need. I saw someone write. I think it was Ruben Frank who wrote. Why do the Eagles want to do something along those lines? And I'm like, really? Does it take a genius to figure out why the hell they want a new stadium? They want a Super Bowl. They want all these events. They want. Come on. This isn't hard to figure out here.
Yeah, it's really like it's funny, like going to Super Bowls, right? I've been to 2 with John now. I went to 57 Arizona. I thought that was a tremendous stadium. I loved it, and it's unique for the Cardinals. I don't know if and I think that's what the Eagles want to do. I just don't know if it'll work here. If that makes sense. Like, I feel like we're going to get a lot of what makes Philly taken away. But I think this is going to be the reality of it. This is what's going to happen.
Well, I think it's kind of, the idea of, the idea that any city doesn't want the Final Four or a Super Bowl is kind of ludicrous, right? I mean, everybody wants it.
Unless you're Buffalo and you're just already we're never getting.
No, I mean,
so.
it's like
but it's probably unrealistic for Buffalo anyway. So.
It's the smallest market. The Super Bowl's never going there.
If how provincial a market is it? If the Eagles aren't in the Super Bowl, nobody in Philadelphia wants the Super Bowl. I hope that's not the case. I mean, because if it is, all the criticisms of being way too provincial are real, because obviously that would have a tremendous impact on the city as a whole. I think the bigger part of it is, where's it going to be? And I think they're just using the suburbs and anywhere else as leverage for.
I always keep hearing the Navy Yard. That's where
getting it still in South Philadelphia, but that's up to the city. The city, I mean, nobody gives the city enough crap. This is a corrupt city. I can go back years. I mean, Disney, when at the height of their power, and it's still a massive company, but they wanted to build, it's sort of I don't know what they were going to call it, but they wanted to build like a Northeast Disneyland on the waterfront. Yeah. This is many years ago. And as soon as they started getting into it, and William Rouse, I still remember the name, there's books written on this. It was so corrupt. And, at the time, the mafia was a bigger part of it. And everybody's trying to, squeeze money up. They're like, fuck this shit. We're out. I mean, the Eagles, and I only say that to bring up, the Eagles need a new stadium. 2032, and let's that seems like a long while away, but you need to start planning stuff like that early.
I mean, they started planning Citizens Bank Park and the link in like the initial plans were like 97, 98. The Eagles didn't actually get approval till 2000. I remember they were on Sunday Night Football in 2000, and Ed Riddell was literally threatening to leave. And 2 days later, there's a deal.
And, to me, the practice facility is even a bigger problem.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what
facility as a whole. There. I mean, my God.
Or sorry, Jefferson Health. I'm sorry. I got to get that right now.
By the way, New England, because they're going to practice with the Patriots up in Foxborough again this summer. They just built a new practice facility that the people I talked to in Boston say is gorgeous. I mean, they are falling behind quickly. When it comes to
building, remember, John, they were building that when we were going up there in 23.
Yeah, I mean, they just opened it last month. So we'll get to see it if we go up there. That's a tough drive. I don't know if I'm going up there.
I don't know, John. You want to go up? We'll use the on-SI expense budget.
There we go. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
We're teammates now. We can do this.
I gotta ask you a personal question. How good does it feel for you to be back covering the NFL and the league and just a personal moment? If you want to share
it's
anything.
Weird. It came out of the blue.
I'm happy for you, and it's well deserved, obviously, and it's exciting for you, and I'm excited for you.
It's weird. Like I'll be honest, it was weird not covering the NFL the second half of the season last year. It was weird. And, when you do it for 10 years, it's like you go on a Sunday, you're like, wow, I don't have to do this today. Especially around the holidays. I'm like, okay, there's football on. I don't have to watch. I don't have to watch every football game anymore.
Yeah, right.
I like it.
Yeah, I often say, what about, I'd like to retire. I'd like to go to Florida, Arizona, wherever. And then I go, boy, man, I don't like not being involved in stuff. It's like, like when I'm not at the meetings, it bothers the shit out of me. Like it shouldn't. And I'm like, but it bothers the shit out of me.
But because you're used to it.
And I think there's a deeper, I don't want to get too deep here, but it does feel like there's a deeper meaning there. We all need purpose in life. I mean, that's what I've always said. I don't think I'm going to retire. Now, I'm maybe too young to say that, but what am I going to do?
Yeah, I know.
I have 5 months of not doing anything.
I mean, I need some meeting. I need some, things to attack and to pursue and to be involved in, like you said, John.
Yeah, that's what Jeffrey Lurie said. He gets asked when's Julian every year. He gets asked. It's like
I always tell people this, especially in sports. Once you give it up, you're giving it up. Like there's no coming back. Like if you're a head coach of something, it's very hard to get another one. That's why I was so upset when I got laid off, because I'm like, look, this may not happen again. I mean, I was just bracing the reality of it. And people were like, well, it will. And I'm like, are you sure about that?
Yeah, I can understand.
People get laid off day. Look at what happened in PFF last week.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, these guys at PFF, they'll be hired in a day. I'm like, no, they won't. I guarantee you they won't. They may be hired, but not in a day.
Some will. So you're right, Jeff.
Yeah.
Some won't. That's the truth, man.
And there are some talented people that are available right now. That's the reality of it.
I didn't see fully that. What did PFF got a bunch of people?
Well, they sold the business end, the team, the end that deals with teams and actually, they clients, they give data to NFL teams and things. They sold that end to the company and they spun off the public facing entity, the grades and all that kind of stuff that people can subscribe to if you want to. They spun that off, but nobody knows what it's going to look like. The business to business end, the analytics end, which you never saw anyway, it got sold for, I don't know, to Teamworks for like $100 million. So Chris Collinsworth cashing in.
Yeah.
Feels like that's the American dream now. You build a business and you cash it in.
Yeah. As people who sell businesses, you don't get rich running a company. I'll be the first.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, just stay broke. I'll tell you that for sure.
If someone offered the Krauses $20 million for JAKIB Sports, I don't think you guys are really, we want to keep owning it.
Question: what the hell do I do every day, boys? I'll have to start something else.
Well, and that's what Jeffrey Lurie said last week. I mean, he said the same thing. It's like, what his dad told him, don't retire because, you do need a purpose. And that's sort of like, I hate because ever since COVID, they've made it so difficult to travel. Like it really bothers me to travel now. But then I'm like, if I'm not at something, it bothers the shit out of me. It just bothers me. I can't explain it.
That's how I was. It's like, you're not in touch with everything that's going on. You're getting the information from like John and stuff, but it's not the same. And, I feel like I'm starting over now because like, it's not like I just went from one job next. I'm like, I've been out of this for 5 months. There were days I'm like, look, I just don't care what people think about Jalen Hurts today. I don't. I really don't care.
Yeah, that part, it's not the difficult part.
I don't care what the super fan thinks of Jalen Hurts, who doesn't know any more than anybody else, but yet they get the likes and retweets.
They think they know them. That's the beauty. Sports. I guess life is like that because you see the same thing in politics. Like people will argue like they know. Like it's amazing to me. Like if I don't have information, I'm going to tell you I don't have the information. I say it all the time on this show. Zander will ask me a question. I go, well, I don't know. I don't. But I'm not going to argue something I don't know. I'll argue my opinion, but I'm not going to act like, it's bizarre to me that people do
I got to catch up with a lot of stuff and rewatch a lot of stuff during my hiatus. And one of the things I watched was OJ Made in America. Great documentary, by the way.
Yeah, is that which one is that? Because there's two. Is that the one?
That's the 5-part one. That's the 30 for 31. And they go into everything, right? Like what led to it, his life before that, where he succeeded, where he failed at. And like, you got people, and it's funny listening to like the cops' perspective and like the DA and everybody else. People, they're interviewing people in the streets. Free OJ, free OJ. They're like, I just know he's innocent. I know. And they're like, what a bunch of idiots.
Wait,
like,
is that the one with the Is that the one with the actors, or is that the one with?
No, this is the real one. This is
okay.
How
the
they
one
set
with
up
the actors
defense.
is actually pretty good too.
Yeah, you know the star of that, the Made in America one, Ron Shipp. He was tremendous.
Well, yeah.
Like the real Ron Shipp, and like they showed the whole he's getting testified, and Johnny Cochran just belittling every little thing he did in his life, whether it was drinking, whether it was hanging out with a girl. He found that out, and Shipp was like, "This guy will do anything to prove this guy is innocent, even lie." And I'm like, "Wow."
Well, that's his job.
Yeah. And he said he didn't blame him for it, but he said like, you get hurt when you're on the stand.
Yeah, well, certainly. There's a lot of good OJ documentaries. I get them all conflated.
And they all came out like at the same time too.
I was the OJ Hall of Fame discussion's an interesting one to me because I'm like, a lot of people wanted him removed from the Hall of Fame, and I
don't know how you can do that.
Yeah, to me, it's not a Hall of Fame for best husbands or best people. He's one of the best football players who ever lived. If I lie to you and say that's not the case because he's an asshole and what he did off the field, like, what does that accomplish? I get the emotion of being like, I'm not going to say that to the Goldman family. I get the emotion of losing a child and all that, and I'm detached from it.
And the year she was abused by him.
Yeah. All that, I get the emotion. I'm not talking about, but other people, I'm like, what don't you understand? It's the same thing, less obviously, because that's a horrible crime, but baseball, Pete Rose, it's absurd to me that Pete Rose,
Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens.
I'm like, why have the museum if you're leaving?
Ty Cobb is a terrible, terrible person. Cap Atson owns slaves. He's in the Hall of Fame. I know it's a different era, but
can you tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, and Roger Clemens?
I had someone say on X the other day, you shouldn't count anything in baseball pre-1940. Why not? There's a whole wing of baseball pre-1947. I tell people, read books, go to the Hall of Fame. Stop saying your opinion is truth.
Yeah.
Because it's not true.
And by the way, it's the easiest.
That is the stupidest thing in the world, the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, those people have really made a fool of themselves. They're
judging morality, and
they don't know how to handle that.
The judges of morality are probably some of the scummiest people.
Exactly right. Let me stand on my pedestal and judge everybody.
I wish they would have put Pete Rose in and say he did this.
Yeah, whatever. Put something on the plaque that says he was banned from baseball for gambling. Yeah, whatever. He's still the all-time hit king.
Ty Cobb was an abusive whatever he was. Put it on the thing. We know, but put it. Let the 6-year-old see that. That's what
it is an interesting thing, like how we end up here. It's like how Barry Bonds and Roger.
My favorite. I love the Mitchell Report in baseball. Because I remember I had to do that story. I was working in the newsroom of a different company, and I had to do that story. Oh my God, that was overwhelming. But as I went through that fucking thing, I call it the copy and paste report. Because all he did was use other people's work and then copy and paste it all together.
What was the Mitchell Report? The thing on the drug use, the PED,
steroid use.
Yeah, in 2007 it came out.
But the most beautiful thing about it, 90% of the players mentioned and stained as PED abusers sucked.
David Bell was one of them.
So I sit there and I said, well, Barry Bonds wouldn't have been Barry Bonds without steroids. So Roger Clemens.
He already was great without steroids.
Exactly. Yeah. What about the 90% of the people in there that were awful? And how many times did Jason Grimsley get juiced up to get the ball by one of the other juicers that you think I don't get, like, you have no idea. Anybody. I'm not picking on you guys.
David Ortiz in the Mitchell.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if he was in the Mitchell, but he was. Yeah, he was a steroid guy.
But it's funny how the perspective changes because he was a good guy. Like,
he is a good guy. I know.
Yeah, he's a good guy, but
Who cares?
I know, but that's the thing. It's a double standard. If you're a bad guy, you don't get in.
Well, yeah, I'm look, I don't advocate bad guys, but
I don't need.
Are you good at baseball? Then you should be in.
Yeah. Well, that's
good.
Like
I think good is an understatement.
Well,
if you're one of the best,
yeah.
greatest baseball players of all time.
You know, I actually had
in baseball. It's like
I had Saquon Barkley laughing a couple years ago. He was going for the rushing record. I said to him, like, don't you think it's hilarious how Eric Dickerson's like on you for, oh, well, he'd be in an extra game. I'm like, not that he didn't do that when he passed OJ. And he goes, why doesn't anybody talk about like OJ doing it? And I'm like, a lot of people don't talk about stuff.
A lot of people don't talk about OJ.
Yeah.
I'm like, a lot of people know him as the 2,000-yard rusher, but that's not what he's known for.
Sensitive subject there. Sensitive subject.
Yeah, but it is funny. Like Eric Dickerson just ignored like he did it in an extra game.
Right. Speaking of Saquon, and as we talk about the Hall of Fame, John, you said after last season you thought for sure he'd be a Hall of Famer. Are you still holding to that? Do you still think he's a Hall of Fame player?
Do I think he is? No, not yet. Do I think he will be? Yes. It's his reputation amongst his peers and even media people is like so immense that I think he'll he has to have a couple more good years.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's there yet.
But I think he's the best way I would describe it is he's got the inside lane and he's got a police escort. Like if he just doesn't fall flat on his face, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. What if he has 3 more years that looked a lot like 2025?
Going to the Hall of Fame. That's 3 more 1,000-yard years. People will forget the shit in it. I mean, he's just got this reputation of, and it really goes back to the draft and his college career, and he's almost mythical coming into the league, and his peers aren't all of them. So, yeah, he's gonna be there.
Jeff, how do you see it?
I think he needs another 1,000-yard year or two, but I agree with John. Like, I think everybody's going to look at 2024 and what he did and ranked for 2,000 yards and ranked for the most rushing yards in a season. Look, Terrell Davis got into the Hall of Fame based on basically 1 or 2 years, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
Why can't Saquon Barkley do that? He had an amazing rookie season. Then he had the injury issues with the Giants and the comeback with the Eagles. And if he has another 1,500-yard year, I think it's a wrap. Look, what's he at now, John? Like 8,000 yards?
Yeah, 83-56. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, so 2 2,000-yard seasons, or
I don't know, because the one pushback I'd have to you guys would be some people, and I'm not saying they're right, and I'm not saying it's Saquon's fault. Some people probably look at Saquon as not a bust draft pick, but not a player that lived up to where he was selected, if that makes sense. In New York.
So I don't Giants, know. I would agree with that.
Again, I don't think that's Saquon's fault. I think look at New York Giants, but still, I think does that get held against them when those Hall of Fame talks come
I don't
up?
think it gets held against him.
No,
I think that's a fair criticism. I don't think it gets held against him, but I think it's a fair criticism. And it's not his fault, like you said. It's just the Giants were dumb enough to take him that high.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at his last year in New York and look at the Yanks when they lost him. Like he still was regarded as this, I don't know, this untouchable player.
Mythical.
Like he by no means was a Hall of Fame player with the Giants. Not even close, to be honest. Not even close. So to me, it's 2 different conversations. You ask me, will he be in the Hall of Fame? Yes. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? No, not yet. But will he be? Yes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Yeah.
I mean, how many years do you think he's got with the Eagles? 2?
I think this might be it.
Yeah.
If it's another year like last year, I think this is it. It won't be it for his NFL
guy that much
career.
Money. Yeah.
It won't be this for his NFL career, and he'll go somewhere else and get a couple 1,000 yards seasons. But yeah, the Giants player, no, that's not a Hall of Fame player. Not even close.
Insert to him. But by the way, guys, I wanted to touch base with you on this. What do we think about the NFL giving another Christmas game to Fox and having this package now that's going to be on Thanksgiving Eve and all this?
They're just going to keep going, man. They're never going to stop.
I honestly think it's too much. I really do. I don't think football's meant to be played every day.
I think they're teetering with that line, Jeff. But until something indicates that is true,
they gotta drop. The rain's gotta drop.
Statistically, exactly right. They're not going to do it. Yeah. So they need some tangible evidence that it's too much outside of we're setting ratings records, which might be bullshit, as John points out.
It's complete bullshit.
Nielsen
is a crock of shit. But I don't know. It feels like they're going to keep going.
Nielsen is the biggest scam in the world. By the way, we were talking about that, Zander. I actually got.
I was on with you
for the first time, but Zander told me the story. You got like a letter with like $2.
Yeah, $2. Yep, $2 in there.
I had never gotten one of them, and I got one like 2 weeks ago. I forgot to mention it. I got $2 from Nielsen.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, thanks. I've been shitting on you for 20 years.
I'll take the $2.
Yeah. They sent me $2 American dollars, and I have no idea. Like, what? Okay. What, they didn't ask me to do anything. What are my viewing habits? What is the point of this? So the NFL complained they were undercounted. They changed their methodology to include what they call big panel plus data, such bullshit. So they're trying to incorporate streaming and regular viewing. And all of a sudden the NFL sets all these records. All of a sudden some other regular television, some other industries started dipping, and they complained. And meanwhile, there's a bunch of big-time Hollywood lawyers trying to sue the company for having a monopoly, because their whole lives are built on these Nielsen ratings that are bullshit, because that's what people judge advertising rates on. So
they shouldn't do that.
They're getting sued. The NFL's happy now. And cable lost their minds because when the cable industry as a whole, because when they started this whole new NFL methodology, their ratings went down. So they had to tweak it to put them back up. Literally, this happened in February. And I'm like, okay, you're telling us for 10 years that these cable programs are popular. Then you use this new methodology. They're unpopular. And now they complain, and you go back to a different methodology that makes them look more popular. Does that seem credible to anybody?
No.
Anybody?
No.
I just don't like where we're going with, not even with the game, but all the broadcast partners. Like, do I really want to go look for a game on YouTube? No.
Oh my God, they're gonna sell to Tubi.
By the way, I love to tell this to streaming people. As someone who watches the Phillies on cable, I have cable and streaming. Streaming is like a minute 30 behind cable.
Yeah,
a minute 30 for a generation that wants everything right away. Why do you accept that?
It's amazing.
Because young people don't watch cable either. They watch everything on this.
Yeah,
well, they're dumb.
Yeah, me and my dad were talking about this though. It's like the pendulum has maybe shifted. Like cable looked like a bad deal a couple years ago, and everyone's like, "Oh, get on YouTube." All of a sudden, it's like now we're subscription to death. We need subscriptions to 40.
And now they're bundling everything. It's called cable.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, let's just get back to cable that has everything.
I feel like YouTube TV figured it out. You pick the channels you want.
Yeah, YouTube TV.
But they didn't figure out because it was like $49. And now it's like 79. Like
it's more than that, John.
Yeah, everybody got greedy.
Way up there. Yeah.
It's
more than
I still like when I saw someone complain the other day, like about the Final Four being on cable, right? It's on TBS. I'm like, where have you been? It's been on TBS every even numbered year for the last 15 years.
And True TV. You gotta really search for True TV. It's the only time anybody watches it all year.
Yeah. Or like my favorite was, and I complained about this back in 2006 when the deal started, when the NFL deal started. Monday Night Football being on cable. I'm like, you guys are going to ruin Monday Night Football. I don't care if it's on the ESPN. Oh, it's ESPN. I'm like, don't care. It's cable network. It is not on ABC. It's not on the mothership.
By the way, ESPN bought NFL Network. Yep. They bought MLB TV. So you have to get ESPN Unlimited to watch anything, right?
Yep.
For streaming. And on top of it,
yep.
On top of it, if you want to watch out-of-market baseball games, you still have to pay extra for MLB TV. I don't know what they're going to do with NFL Network. But
they've been playing UFL games on. Last night they played a UFL game.
On NFL Network?
On NFL Network. Yeah, it was weird.
But I mean, what ESPN just took it over last week. So yeah. Long term, I don't know what they're going to do with it. They said they're going to keep it.
Schefter and Rappaport going to work together?
Well, Rappaport's contract is up this month, I believe. And there was a big story that they want to extend it and make him the heir apparent to Schefter. And same thing with Daniel Jeremiah or Mel Kiper. Like he's the heir apparent. I'm like, I thought he already passed Mel Kiper, but that's me.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's ESPN. ESPN's taken over the world. If you want to watch sports, you got to get ESPN. And I don't like ESPN. I don't watch it. I'm not
crazy about it. No, and like I respect the grind a lot of those guys do. Like, look, I'm not a Get Up fan, but I respect what they do. I don't like it, but it is what it is, right? Same with, I'm not a First Take guy at all. I think First Take is terrible.
Wait, John, real quick, what did you mean by Rappaport would replace Schefter? Would they get rid of Schefter?
Oh no, just when he eventually decides to walk away.
When he does a Woj and just gets away from it.
In ESPN parlance, as if he
so
gets
you want to just condense it all? Like I like that there's two. I like that there's Rappaport.
I do too.
Schefter.
I like that there's Schrager, and now he's at ESPN.
Yeah,
it's
right.
It's weird.
But now that they own, now they own NFL Network. So it's like, it's going to get condensed. People are going to lose their jobs.
I get upset when people are on Diana Rossini all the time. They're like, oh, she was a cast off for me. No, she wasn't. Her contract went up and the Athletic gave her an awesome deal.
Yeah. Sometimes it works out for people. Yeah. Most times it doesn't. But as it constricts, you have less. Now, let's be honest. I mean, when you're talking about the big time NFL, Mike Sealski had the best term for it, so I give him credit. They're information brokers. They're not reporting. They're being handed the information.
Yeah.
And you'll notice Schefter, Rappaport,
how they tweet it.
Jordan Schultz, not only Tom Pelissero, not only their tweets are very similar to each other's. Some change because you're trying to get it out as quickly as possible. Because they're being written by the agents and they just blanket it out.
It's just a weird way of like breaking news these days.
Well, it's not breaking news. You're being handed the news.
You're being handed info, but still though, like to the public, you're breaking the news.
Well,
they all get tweeted out in the same 16-second period. You know what I mean? It's like obvious that it all broke or was sent to them.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do like a podcast and like have those guys on and be like, look, I never want your job. What got you to that?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they would answer that question.
Well,
no, I don't think they would.
Money would be the answer. I mean, they get paid a shitload of money. Phone can't turn off your phone. Yeah. Phone's got.
But how do you become like the most trusted person to do that? Like,
I mean, that's just developing relationships and having power brokers trust you, but that part's real. They were like they were all real reporters at one point.
Oh yeah, Schefter wrote for the Denver Post. I remember when he wrote.
Yeah. Now there's a give and take. Like Jay Glazer, I don't know if you saw Jay, great dude, but I mean, so he's at the owners' meeting having a pool party with the coaches. saw Goofy Nick's earlier. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. You know what? I did see that.
He put it right in Nick's face. It was funny.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I mean, so
Get a grip.
now if you're wondering how Jay Glazer gets access, there you see it. But when you're friends with people,
You don't cover him the same way.
yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Well, that's integrity for the job, John. It feels like that doesn't even, it's not even on the gauge anymore that people care about. It doesn't fuel anything. Having integrity for the job.
No. And there's nothing wrong with going out to dinner with somebody, having a couple drinks, having a good time. Don't put it on fucking social media.
Yeah, I've done it. Like I kept that as private as you could keep it. It's like, no, I doing that.
I wonder where it's all going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe we're going to be watching flag football with only one subscription to ESPN.
Is Jalen Hurts a good enough flag football quarterback?
Hundreds of
dollars. My worst part, which I bring up, and Jeff knows, the Sunday morning, like Sunday, still the most games. The Sunday repackaging of news. Sunday morning repackaging of news bothers the shit out of me. Because we're down there every fucking day.
And we're telling you.
And, the Schefter said it on Sunday morning, so it's real, or Rappaport, or that bothers me. But there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, they have giant platforms. That's why agents give them the stuff. So they have giant fucking platforms.
What's going to, what you say about 10 years, what's going to happen when we're all like not in this business anymore, right? And the aggregators don't have anything to aggregate.
Oh, and now you're going, but the aggregators, my God. Like, yeah, so I don't like to put a lot of my videos or quotes on social media, and people say, why? And Jeff might balk at that since he's now the boss.
Yeah. I might force you to do that.
I'm gonna get on X here.
So my point is, like, as soon as you put it up there, somebody's going to steal it. So what I try to do is more, in depth than, just but then you have the desire that, they want 7 stories. They want 6. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. This is a broken industry. This is a broken industry.
It is. Like, look, I don't mind doing it because I've always done it. But, I was told, hey, you can do 3 to 5 stories a day. That'd be great. I said, I can do that. I definitely could do that in season. Now is like the time where you got to think piece. Like, okay, well, John may have written about Jalen Hurts already. So.
I have.
Yeah, see?
but that never, generally people don't have the same opinions. So, it's like, it's going to be different anyway. And my whole philosophy is like, Ed and I, like, Ed's going to have a different opinion than me. Trust me. So I'm going to have a different, so it's going to be 2 ways of covering the story, but that's just in general. But as far as, I mean, and I don't want to call them out, but you know who they are. As soon as, like, we'll be down there for draft stuff. And if you put up Howie talking about the draft, by the time you get in the car,
it's already out there.
These succubuses have already stolen it, not credited it.
Yep.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And then you got, my favorites are the people who are in the know or in there. And they're like, oh, so-and-so told me. Dude, there were like 10 people there.
Well, folks.
Come on, man.
Unfortunately.
No, you do that when you have one-on-ones.
Unfortunately, it's adapt or die. It just is what it is. I mean, that's the world that we live in. So,
John and I are trying
to but people should credit people at the bare
I
minimum.
agree, John. I agree 100%.
Like honestly, if someone would take something like we say on here, credit JAKIB Media, credit Birds 365, just credit.
Yeah, I don't care. You credit JAKIB, credit SI credit bursary. You don't have to use a name.
I
but you
only got on one person my entire life, and I normally don't care. But I was so bad because I asked AJ Brown a question. It was like 2 years ago. He gave me a great answer. I had it on my video. This is why I stopped shooting video. Had it on the video. Someone literally just took the entire video exactly from my spot and got so much traction off. And I said, I don't remember you standing next to me.
Look,
That's
guys,
all I said.
this is part of it. You guys are great reporters. Some people are great content guys, content creators. They don't have the access you have, but what they do have is they have a skill set that allows them.
But they sell it like they have the access.
Exactly
That's
right.
the irony of it.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
that's what bothers me. That's what bothers me. Like, because it's become a self-fulfilling prophecy that, it takes a lot of time to cover an NFL team. So for all the Eagles fans, and I get a lot of them to say, how do you cover the Eagles? And I'm saying, well, number one, I always say I recommend go cover somebody else first, because then you learn how to do the job.
I even said to myself, do I really want to get back into this?
Yeah. Because you're probably going to be disillusioned. Never, if you love something, go somewhere else. But because you have to be objective, and you're going to find out some things you probably don't want to find out. But beyond that part of it, I would say go learn the job somewhere else first, because this is a tough market to begin with. But and then secondly, it's like, if you love the team and that's your only reason to get into this, it's not the job for you. It shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be.
I love football. I love playing it. I'm gonna help coach a little bit this year.
No, it's fine to love the sport.
Yeah.
We all got into sports because we love sports at some core level. It beats it the hell out of your love, but it's the grind, the time that, like, those people you're talking about, Zander, fine. You're right. That's the adapt or die, and that's the reality of the situation. But like, you get the feeling that they want the access, but they could never get the access, because if they got the access, they wouldn't have the opportunity to do what they're doing, because it's so time consuming. Like, just being there every day. It's like covering the president. Oh, what are you doing? Well, there's a press conference at 1. Then they show up at 2. Practice, locker room. It's a grind.
You know what? A successful day for me is getting in a story before the next thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good day for me.
And you don't have time to do the story half of the time to the next thing. So then you got to do it at the end of the night. And then you're up to midnight, and then it starts over again.
Yeah. And you're just doing it and doing it and doing it. Like, honestly, Tuesday's the best day of the week.
It's a glamorous world, but it is very, very time consuming. Very time consuming.
Yeah. Honestly, it's people like John and Ed that get you through the day.
And unfortunately, it's not valued, because the people making the decisions don't understand. Like, why does Bob's Football Blog have it up and you don't have it up? Well, because they fucking stole it from me. That's why. I have to go down there to get it so they can steal it. So yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're talking about this, but there.
No, it's fun. Like,
it's off season. It's good.
I think that's where, like, a platform like JAKIB can help today. Like, you guys do the training camp reports, right? John's giving you the information there.
Yeah, come listen to the program if you want the full context and the full listen.
Yeah,
I agree. All right.
So what happened? Well, Jalen Hurts is 19 of 24 today, according to ESPN's QB stats. So he had a terrible day.
Again, back to the folks. They get clicks, and they're not going to stop anytime soon. So
I respect that grind. By the way, I could never monitor someone's stats in the practice.
That's Elliott's role. That's his job.
I asked him one time, "Can you do my stats for bowling when I'm practicing?" I'm curious.
How is the bowling life going? You cooking right now or what?
No. God, no.
No, you're not. You're in a slump?
I'm in the minor funk. I was red hot from like, and I knew it was going to come crashing down from like December to the February. I think I was just getting off some anger
Yeah.
on the lanes.
Jeff, all
and
right. So
now it-
somebody in the chat referred to the now infamous April Christmas tree.
yeah,
They've now
it's
referred
staying
to
up, baby.
Are you a
'cause
Lord of the
everybody
Rings
keeps
guy?
bringing
Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings? You a Lord of the Rings guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Someone called it in the chat that you're precious. And I thought that
I
was
like it.
hilarious.
Everybody keeps mentioning it, so I'm just going to keep it up now. It's just annoying people.
Jeff's the
I
precious,
have
that's
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
funny. John, you're telling me I'm not the movie guy here, and you've never seen Lord of the
never.
Rings.
I
That's
don't-
like
I
my
don't-
They were
all-time
great.
favorite
Those three
movie.
movies were great.
I don't
They're
like
so good.
I don't like fantasy bullshit. I don't like
Yeah, but there's so
Or-
many real things in that. That's it's fantasy, but it's
You're not a Star Wars guy, John McMullen?
when I was younger, the original ones, like because everybody was, but the new ones now, get them out of my life. Hate them.
There's gonna be
Something's
more of
got to
them
have.
coming.
I got to be able to suspend my disbelief at some point. I don't like when I books perfect. Like I do not read fiction. Period.
I read nonfiction.
Yeah, that's all I read. Non-fiction. If it didn't happen, I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't care.
You know what I'm going to send you today, John? Because my buddy sent me this. The map of the Star Wars universe, like an actual
God.
map. Like, and it's like where all the planets are and all the systems. I'm like, dude, I don't have time to look up where Tatooine is on this.
No.
I just
Not
know
my-
it's a desert planet in the Outer Rim.
No, not
I
my
think it's in
deal.
the Outer Rim. I don't even know.
I'm sure they're what Harry Potter too. I'm sure they're wonderful movies. I just have no interest whatsoever.
Lord of the
Zero.
Rings is pretty cool. I always say to people that's a movie worth
you
watching.
know
Even
what,
if you don't
someone
like
called me-
fantasy, I feel
Someone
like
called me
of the
Lord
Rings.
Voldemort once. I said, joke's on you. I've never seen a Harry Potter movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
You never seen Harry Potter? That surprises me.
No,
I'm
I
a
never
movie
saw
guy
that.
here.
Yeah, I am too. I just never seen the Harry
Well,
Potter.
like movies that are good. I'm a good movie guy.
Good
People,
movie.
John, people in the chat say, how do you hate fiction? And then you watch WWE. That's what people in the chat say.
Whoa.
Well, because people, that is the most interesting industry in the world because
It's
I'm
entertainment.
interested in the industry.
The industry's fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It is fascinating.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is
with
a
you on
fascinating
that. I am
industry.
with you on that.
It's-
I watched
Vince
that.
Mc-
I watched that show. What's the show? I'm not a huge WWE guy that watches it ever, but
Unreal.
I did watch
I
what's the
believe,
show,
yeah.
John? The behind the scenes one.
Netflix. Unreal. I think it's.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Netflix
Unreal.
one,
I
yeah.
thought that was freaking great. I mean, I loved watching the behind the scenes of Triple H and the way that all the
Mhm.
business aspects of it. It's amazing, and the production of it is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, they have the best production company on the planet.
100%.
That's why everybody thought the XFL was going to work because he was going to take
Well,
that. into
there are a
football.
lot of things the NFL eventually stole from the production aspect.
Yeah,
The spider camera
Skycam,
was
yeah.
an XFL thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was a tremendous idea at the time when they just put body cameras on people and like they showed you getting hit in real time. I'm like,
Who
oh
was
my
the
God,
kicker that hit the wire though this year?
Oh yeah, who
Uh,
was the kicker?
that-
Oh,
Was it
yeah, I got-
was it the Bama kid? Was it Will Reichert? I think it was Will Reichert.
Oh
wasn't it?
yeah, he's great. So I guess they, by the way, he had a great fucking year.
Great year.
Like,
Yes, he did.
yeah, he did.
I think he kicked it too high. They were like, "No, this kid can't kick it this high," and then he bang right off.
Boom.
And it's like he never misses, and he missed it, and it was a bad miss.
It's really
Never-
weird how we live in a product. We live in a society where we want more football and we get more football, but it's not the NFL. So no one cares.
Oh no, nobody cares about the UFL.
I watched a UFL game last night. I'll be honest. Like,
Did you?
Deion Kane looked great last night.
Who
Yeah.
was playing? Deion Kane, yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it was background because I didn't have the TV. It was Louisville. I think Louisville was on last night. There were two games on yesterday.
Louisville's a new team, I think, this year.
Yeah, it's Louisville, Orlando, and there's another one in there.
Anthony
I haven't
Beck
seen-
is a coach of somebody.
Orlando. He coaches
Orlando.
Orlando. Yeah, that's why I watch
Saint-
Orlando.
Are you guys watching that the championship game tonight? You guys watch the Final Four at all? John, you into that?
I'm gonna be honest, as
I haven't
someone
watched
who
much.
I can't stand both those schools, but I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I haven't watched
Yeah,
it.
I'll
Michigan
try to.
cannot win. I'm just gonna say that right now. I can't stand UConn, but I'd rather see them win than Michigan.
Oh,
This is again one of the things covering sports is like I don't crave other sports and like I used to.
Yeah, that's how I am right now. Like I'll watch college basketball,
Like,
but not like I used to watch it.
If I watch TV, I'm usually turning on Netflix or Amazon. I
I'll
get
watch
too much.
documentaries.
I'm trying to.
John, I fear
decompress.
that's happening to me too quick, at too quick of a pace, man. I am completely with you on that.
If you want to watch something fascinating right now, that has nothing to do with sports, I'm a big Nat Geo guy. Watch
Lord of
Secrets
the
of
Rings,
the Bees.
baby.
Secrets of the Bees. Watch that, man. The way they kill murder hornets is incredible.
I don't want to see murder hornets die. Come on.
I do because they're killing the bees.
They're killing murder hornets or killing the bees.
Murder hornets eat honeybees.
I guess
they eat
that's what it
honeybees.
is.
We can't have that.
I can't.
We're gonna die if this happens.
I can't say I know much about bees other than like that goofy movie that came out a long time ago. What was that movie called?
Bee movie?
movie.
The Seinfeld movie?
Yeah, the Seinfeld movie. Yeah,
I was forced to watch that.
It just shows you like everything they do to kind of like live and help us live. And it's like all they do is work. That's all they know how to do.
well,
they're born, they work.
Jeff,
I'm
you're a
annoyed
bee
by bees.
truther. You're a bee truther.
Yeah,
I am.
I
don't like them, but I respect them.
I know every year the first bee I see, and I'll say, "Oh, there it is. Here they're coming back."
Yeah,
we do need them.
I can't.
We definitely need them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
what
can't stand
insect do we not need?
But I'm not afraid. Right? I'm not afraid of bees, though. There's a lot of people afraid of bees. Like you'll see a training camp, a bee will fly around.
Right. The only time you'll see me jump is if they go near my ear because I'll hear that buzz because you can hear it and you're but that's it.
Speaking of wrestling, I no-sell bees, man. If you no-sell them, they go away. They go away.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you got time? Let's rattle through some super chats, folks. Let me get to these super chats. We got 17 minutes left. Jeff. Normally when you come on, we talk about a lot of shit. Today might be our most wide ranging of all time. We've talked about.
This is what happens when I'm gone a week.
Yeah, it's true. Suplex City says Big Z shoulder injury is tied to the biggest what if in NFL history. That's so true. That's right, Nick Saban. What if Miami's doctors clear Drew Brees? What happens to Nick Saban? Yeah, Dante Culpepper.
I still say he leaves.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think the NFL was right for him.
Well, we were talking about, Jeff, before you came up, we were talking about Jaylen Carter's shoulders. So this is why obviously.
Oh, yeah. That's relevant.
Right. This is why this super chat was sent.
Yeah, I mean, Culpepper was really good until he ripped up his knee back in an era where it wasn't as easy to get back from it. And then he was never the same player. So, yeah, I mean, obviously Drew Brees turned into a Hall of Famer. So, but his situation matters. And yeah, I don't think it would have worked out as well for Drew Brees in Miami as it did in New Orleans.
Agreed. Yeah. Here's Sauce It Up Entertainment says, good morning, fellas, Zander and John. In a perfect world, can Sean Mannion try to make Jalen a pocket passer like he made Jordan Love? Or isn't Jordan Love a pocket passer?
I don't want Jalen.
Jordan Love has always been a pocket passer. That's part of the problem. He didn't make him a pocket. Tom Clements was a legendary quarterbacks coach. Legendary. And he was the Packers quarterbacks coach.
Tom Clements was like this close to taking the Penn State job after the Paterno and Sandusky thing. He was this close.
Yeah. I mean, he was a great quarterback himself in the CFL for a lot of years. But, I mean.
He was in a couple NFL camps too, wasn't he? Back in the day?
Yeah, I'm sure. But he was a big-time CFL star. I know that. And then, he had been a quarterback's coach everywhere, basically, for decades. and he retired. And after 2024, and Sean Mannion took over. Like, look, nothing against Sean. He didn't do anything for Jordan Love other than pick up the finished product. Yeah. So
He got Malik Willis paid like $70 million for like 3 games, which is
put
pretty
some
good.
respect on Tom Clement's name. He's a legend.
There you go.
I'm just looking him up. 2-time Grey Cup champion, CFL's most outstanding player. Yeah, he was a big CFL.
With Toronto? Was he with Toronto?
7-time CFL All-Star. A bunch of different teams. He bounced around there because nobody has any money. Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Hamilton, and Winnipeg.
Oh, so he was with the original Red Blacks because there's a new one.
I don't know. They had the 2 Rough Riders. Saskatchewan was the Rough Riders with no space. Ottawa was the Rough Riders with
the space. I kind of remember that. Yeah. Remember when the CFL came to America?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Baltimore, Birmingham, I believe. Birmingham is the epicenter of every minor league football.
They're the best UFL team you've never heard of, the Birmingham Stallions.
Yeah, always. I think that Birmingham Stallions were a CFL team. I think they used the same name.
They were. Yeah, because that was their USFL name too, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe it's been a couple leagues, more than 2, but not sure on that. But yeah, Tom Clements developed. Now, to your point, Malik Willis did play, but guess what? He played well in one. He played well in one game.
Yeah, 1 game.
Yeah.
Well, that's got for playing well in 1 game.
Here's
Jordan Love, and by the way, Jordan Love was a natural pocket passer coming in
from Utah State.
Really, has some mobility, but he was always a pass first guy.
Alfredo says Pat's offering 2 for AJ. That's it. No go for Howie.
It's going to be a go. It's just a matter of when the go is.
Will it be this year? John, how many articles do you think you and I are going to write on A.J. Brown before this happens?
What's that?
How many articles do you think you and I are going to write about A.J. Brown before this happens?
Too many.
Telling you, I didn't miss that in my hiatus. I didn't miss any of that.
I don't blame you.
I don't think
I said a while ago on the afternoon show, I didn't think AJ Brown, I thought for a smart team, and AJ Brown's not worth a 1. 29-year-old wide receiver making $32 million. Why would somebody give up a 1 for that? But if Howie's able to fleece somebody, that would be great. But it wouldn't surprise me.
And if I think he's a declining player, I'm sure
Howie will. I think Howie will get a 1. Now, that 1 might be
next year's
in
1,
2028.
Yeah, I was going to say a 2028 1.
But he will take a future 1 to get his 1.
Oh, can I give an applause for the NFL today? The fact that the Cleveland Browns little proposal was shut down about trading picks up to 5 years in advance. I do not want this league to be the NBA. I will lose my mind.
They might because it creates more conversation.
But they shot it down. Like the proposal never.
Yeah, it didn't get enough support, right?
Yeah.
It might be back.
It could be back. I'd rather see the 4th and 15 thing back, but that didn't come to fruition this year.
Yeah, that'll be back at some point too.
Here's Kimberly. Go ahead, Jeff.
Also, how about the tush push not becoming a thing?
Yeah, I know.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
It is funny.
Yeah. I think everybody missed the boat on that though. I'm like Eagles fans are so obsessed with the league hates the Eagles and blah blah blah, even though there's no evidence of that. They're on TV.
The NFL loves the Eagles. That's why they're on TV all the
time. The NFL loves the fucking Eagles. They love the fucking Eagles.
By the way, because you guys are so sensitive to everything, we're going to mention it because we know negativity sparks engagement in your minds.
Now, however,
it's funny how that works.
Cam Jurgens was on Bussin' with the Boys and said how fucking miserable that play is to run for the offensive line.
Kelsey said it. Cam said it.
Lane don't like it.
Landon is destroyed physically. not just because of that, but a big part of it. Like, I don't get the love for that play. I don't get it.
Because
And it
it's
wasn't even
the point.
successful last year.
I know.
They
it
would have
wasn't
been better if they spread the field and let Jalen pick the hole. I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. Here's Kimberly. She says this. Remember Fowler on Get Up talking birds drafting a quarterback to put pressure on Hurts. That's where that comment came up. Fowler was talking with players and coaches. He already had the info for that article.
Oh, he's been working on that article for months.
Yeah. Same with Tim.
Yeah.
Tim
the people who think they get that the timing people like Florio.
The timing people are awesome.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You're not writing that on Sunday night.
No, but the release of it was an interesting time.
No, the release. I mean, that's out of your hands. Number one,
that's a Monday morning thing, right?
Yeah, that's an ESPN Monday.
Would I be a fool to think that there's some like? Could Jeffrey Lurie have said like, all right, but drop it after the owners' meeting, after I speak?
I don't think so. I really don't.
We talked a lot about information brokers and power brokers.
Well, like, I mean,
if those people are the brokers for
they're not. They're not the brokers. They're not. They're reporters.
No, those guys are, but I'm not. I'm talking about. You said it's out of their hands when it publishes. I agree. I'm talking about the publishers at ESPN.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're gonna go for maximum impact. I mean, yeah, that's their job. That part of it, I'm just saying, it's not like Jeremy Fowler and Tim got together and say, "Oh, let's do it now." Yeah. Although I have a hunch they talked to some people at the meetings.
Yeah.
In fact, I got a hunch they talked to one specific person at the meetings, but at least Jeremy. But that's part of it. That's why you go to the meetings. Yeah, I mean,
you get file.
And by the way, it's not an Eagles person. By the way, it's not an Eagles person. So.
Here's worst behavior. She says, I think it's a girl. She says, while all this Jalen stuff seems overblown, where are the teammates? Why aren't we seeing more support about this not being true by his teammates? The only person I saw.
Well, it is true. Number one.
It's true.
Number one, it is true. Number two.
Did you guys see CJ Gardner-Johnson going to bat for him on social media?
Yeah, that's interesting because
CJ is a different animal on social media. He's a different cat. Nothing wrong with that. It's just different.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. That's fine. I mean, I don't think it's really like for the specific wording about this not being true. It is true. I'm sorry. And it's not really that negative if you read the entire thing. There's positives.
You know what?
In
it's so weird, John. We want these guys. All of a sudden now we want them active when it fits your agenda. But I kind of like Silent AJ. You know,
people
I like Silent AJ. I wish he'd stop, and he did. So good for him.
I don't like Silent AJ. I like AJ.
I mean, for my job, I don't. But my life advice to him would be, dude.
Jeff, do you want clicks on Sports Illustrated or not, Jeff? Come on, man.
John and I can make our own clicks.
Yeah,
we'll tell you the truth.
No, AJ's great to talk to, just about football in general. Even if you're not talking about the Eagles,
he's a good guy. I like AJ.
Yeah, look at everything. That doesn't it, like, seriously, for the longtime listeners of the show, and luckily we have quite a few that are pretty loyal.
You guys are going on 6 years, by the way. That's a long time.
Is it 6 or 5? I don't.
Starting 21, right?
Yeah. By the way, Krause. By the way, that's another thing, Zander. How did Cilio pass us in podcasts? Like, the number's higher.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. I just looked at it because
whoa.
Joe was asking me how many shows we did, and I always go to the YouTube page and look at the podcast.
Well, no, you know what that means? That means that I messed up and I didn't put every show in the You're not talking about number of watchers. You're talking about number of episodes.
Number of episodes.
Yeah,
So
that means there's something missing from the. I got to fix that. I'll look for it.
It says 1358 and National Football Show 1376.
That means I missed some.
Yeah, I knew because we started before. That's the only
we started before. We've always had about 20 episodes more.
What was it, March 21 you guys started?
No, April of 2021.
Yeah, because I started with you guys in July of 21. So
yeah. Wait, when we did the Good Morning NFC
show? No. When I was coming on
hers, that came later.
Yeah, that came in 22. I think their first Super Bowl run. We did that.
So Joe was asking me how many shows we've done, and I went to I noticed it. So that Jody used to be the official tracker of how many
I'll have to address that today, John. I'll fix it up for you. No, but our podcast, John, speaking of podcast, not to toot our own horn here, but I'm going to toot our own horn for a second here. March, in a month where the NFL is in a down period, set a podcast record for Birds 365. We had over 50,000 downloads of the podcast in March. And we are up to almost 2 million total podcast downloads.
Nice. 2 million.
I'm telling you, you know what?
That's separate from YouTube. That's Apple Podcast and Spotify listeners, not watchers. That's
you guys had this format down before everybody decided let's start a podcast.
It's very true. Yeah, we've been.
That's what it is.
My product. But there's so many copycats, which sucks. But we were the first one. But to get back to my original point, and this is, too much patting ourselves on the back, but we have a lot of loyal listeners. And if you watch this show, and I'm telling you right now, I didn't talk to Jeremy Fowler about the Eagles once in my life. You heard all these things, every single one of them.
Here.
Yes.
You think that's a coincidence for the people that think it's not true? You think that's a coincidence?
But I think that's why people stay, because they're hearing the truth. Even if they don't want to believe it, they're hearing it, and they're like, "Oh,
that's true." Yeah.
I mean, some people just don't want to hear it, but they know it's true.
All right, I got to say bye to both of you right now. 9:58. Jeff, I'm going to say bye to you first. Give me your final thought on a Monday as we are 17 days away from the NFL draft, my friend.
Get me to the draft.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you.
Just get me to it.
Jeff, congrats on the new gig, brother. I'm proud of you. I'm pumped for you. I can't wait to read all your work, follow you and John together now covering the Birds, and you deserve to be covering the NFL. So I'm happy you're back doing it. Thanks for doing it today, my friend.
Yeah, anytime you want me on the platform, Zander, I'll come on with you and John anytime you want.
Jeff, thank you, brother. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, man. There's
Thanks,
Jeff doing this right here. Follow him at Jeff Kerr, PHL. Big congrats to him for landing on his feet at Sports Illustrated. Johnny Mac, I'll come right to you. Your final thought here on a Monday edition, 17 days out from the draft. The offseason is in a big month here, Johnny Mac, in April for the draft as that will ramp up quick.
Yeah, we got to get back in the draft tomorrow, so we'll get back heavy in the draft. We did talk about it a little bit with wide receiver and some of the mock drafts shifting to wide receiver. So we'll talk more about that. We got to get Ian, try to get Devin Jackson again, get some draft people on. It's coming quick.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Ramps up real quick.
Yeah,
it does. Like you blink and it's right there. Here's Twiz. One more chat. Remember for 3 months. What up, Twiz? J-Mac, you've been saying for years about Hurts not implementing things he does in practice in games. You're just not as loud as Sills. Not many are as loud as Sills, my friend.
Well, yeah. It's just a different style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a different, I mean, it's tough. Everything's like a tightrope, but I still consider myself reporter first, even though I do a show every day.
Right.
So, I mean, I give my opinions, but I try to differentiate as best as possible. Not perfectly, but
I think you do a pretty good job at it. It's not as easy as people would think to
No.
split that. You know, we talked about like Angela, like talk show guys have a very different goal, you know, than what you would have. Which
Yeah,
you know, it's
exactly.
not easy to split that gap or to you know
No,
thread
it's
that
not.
needle. And I think you've done a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, it's different. Like I'm just not giving my opinion what I think is going on. But I mean, sometimes I'm doing that, but sometimes I have some information that I'm trying to get across that affects that opinion, which other people don't have. That's the point. That's the point of going down there every day. That's the point of doing all that grind we were talking about before. That's what you're able to capture that other people can't because they don't have that access.
All right, John, good show today, my friend. 17 days out. We're going to ramp up. We'll do some draft conversation tomorrow, get deeper into that, and should be pretty good, my friend. So thanks for doing it today, John. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. All right, man?
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, Jim Mack. There's Johnny Mack. John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. Great show today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Big shout out to the Fritz Bianculli Law Firm and Brian Fritz for sponsoring the program today. All right. Appreciate it. I missed all of you on Friday. How was it Friday without your boy Big Z? Huh? I know Dominique Dabney missed me. Dabney, I know you missed me on Friday. Keese, I know you did too. All right. I missed all of you. I had some shit to do and I got it done. All right. As I should. I got it done. Now we are ready to gear up for the draft. JD3 says you enjoyed your vacation. Yeah. Right, JD3. Yeah. You fucking wish, my guy. Izzy B missed me too. Izzy B, I missed you. Thanks for being here. Keith said so much better on Friday. Hey, Keith, fuck you, Keith. All right? Fuck you, Keith. Pops was cooking my ass good. He should. He deserves it right. Your dad crushed it. All right? Take time off. Thomas, thanks for the backhanded slap. Fucking Gruber. With a name like Gruber, you're talking like that? With a name like Tommy Gruber, that's how you're talking to me? Lent is over. The Easter season has come. All right. Which means what? Which means I'm not going to be as hard on myself about using some foul language. You know? Hey, Thomas Gruber, take a fucking lap. I'm just kidding, Thomas. All right. Tommy Grooves. Kevin says he spilled coffee. Did he spill it? I didn't see that. I'm sure he had a Dunkin' too. Or Dunkin'. Actually, my dad kind of gave up Dunkin'. He's the reason I love Dunkin'. I'm Dunkin' or bust. If I'm not drinking Dunkin', I'm not enjoying my coffee. It's just how it is. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth for me. All right. My kids were better at finding eggs than Jalen is at finding the open time. Oh, Rasputin. Rasputin's got a little gasoline trying to pour it on the fire. Be careful, Rasputin. Dabney might get you. Where is Dabney? Is he still here? He probably bailed. Duncan sucks. It's coming from a Mainer. What does that mean? You think I give a shit that you're a Mainer? You think I give a rat's ass what your coffee preference is? You think that changes the type of coffee I'm going to drink? Michael? What do you think? Michael's the arbiter of all things coffee? I mean, come on, Michael. Take a lap, guy. You look just like your dad, just no wrinkles. You'll look exact. I probably will. I got no problem with that, Alfredo. I love my pops. My pops is a great father. I got no problem loving my pop. I think he did a good show. I heard some of it. I heard some of the show. I didn't hear it all. I had the appointment thing, so I couldn't do it all. But all right. Michael says, "Give me your address. I'll send you some that are way better." So, Michael, are you under the impression Maybe when I get married, my wife will make me coffee every morning. Are you under the impression, Michael, that I'm going to get up and brew a pot of coffee? Is that what your impression is? Because that's not what's going to happen. I'm going to order my Dunkin'. I'm going to get my coffee, and I'm going to go on with my day. My coffee's up to $4. The machine does it for you, bro. All right, Kiesel, you happy? You can be happy with your machine. Although I will say, my fiance's got this fucking crazy coffee maker on our, you know how they do wedding registries? She's got a badass coffee machine on there. You guys want to go and buy some stuff on her registry? Go ahead. Go ahead. Be my guest. I'll send you the link. You want to go and purchase some stuff for the Big Z household? Go ahead. All right, go ahead. That was a lot, Jason, I got some game for you. Ready, Jason? If you think cutting $4 a day is going to make you wealthier or have more money in the bank account, or I got news for you. It's not. I promise you, the $100 a month I spend, or whatever it is, $150 a month I spend on Dunkin'. Me cutting that is not going to do a whole lot. The solution to all of that is this: make more money. That's what I tell myself. It's make more money. You're not going to expense yourself into a profit. Worst behavior says this. To clarify, I didn't mean the teammates not chirping on the criticism not being true, but more why aren't they defending him and giving support to what he does well? I thought that was a fair question. Worst, I knew what you meant. You're right. They went on a long tangent about what you didn't mean. I sometimes that happens, which I apologize, but I knew what you meant. There's not much out there, but at the same time, it's not like they're not talking about anything. You know what I mean? So like they would have to come out and I don't know. Like Jalen's pretty quiet, like maybe he doesn't feel like that's even necessary. I don't know. That's a tough one to gauge. I did see Gardner Johnson going to bat for him, and then he put out like a cryptic tweet of like, this shit is deeper than y'all think or something. I'm like, CJ, what are you talking about? Don't forget time wasted and gas. Boy, if I let you guys tell it, you'll be wiping my ass for me too. I mean, it's unbelievable, you guys. You guys will literally be wiping my ass for me if I leave it up to you guys. Holy shit, a bunch of micromanagers. Now Rasputin's worried about the amount of gas in the car. Holy moly. I mean, are you guys kidding me? Yo, Big Mike, get these dudes. Get these dudes. Twiz says $5 coffee. Twiz, let's do the math. Cheesehead. I know you're not the smartest guy in the world, Twiz. 5 times 365 is $1,825 a year. Now, I don't know what planet you live in. All right? $1,825 in a year doesn't go very far, my friend. That Twizzler. I know you're not the brightest tool in the shed. I know you're not the sharpest crown in the box, Twiz. I mean, it's unbelievable. We're prepared. Yeah, what with the micromanaging? I don't know. I put an axe to that pretty quick. It won't work. I can't be micromanaged. I know. Hey, thank you, Age. Thank you. Get what you enjoy. It's like unbelievable here. I had Twiz and Rasputin over here ready to wipe my ass for me. Holy moly. Big Mike. Yo, Big Mike. My chat bouncer. Hey, get these guys in line. Jason A-Team, too. Guy's crying up a storm. I buy Dunkin' every day. Holy moly. Actually, Rasputin, it's not as bad as you think. If I'm not gassing it, it's fine. It's like 16 miles. I get better gas mileage than the truck. You know what was bad on gas? My Ram was bad on gas. I missed my Ram though. I'm getting another Ram. As soon as the wedding is done, I'm getting another Ram. That's what I'm getting. I've driven all the trucks. I'm sorry. I loved my Ram the best. It was the best truck. I drive my brother's got a souped up F-150 right now. Fucking his truck is badass. Pops had the Sierra Denali, which is supposed to be the upgrade. Oh, the big Denali. Now he's got the Canyon, which is too small for me. I mean, I'm going Ram again. The Ram had the best interior. The Ram drove the best. The Hemi, I'm going old. I'm getting a used Ram, maybe a 22 or a 23. Basically the same truck I got rid of. If I changed one thing I did in the last year, it wouldn't be not get the vet. It would be keep the truck. TRX, I already got one fun car. I can't go TRX. And I think I'd go if I went souped up truck, I'd probably go Raptor. I like the Raptor R's, but those things are an arm and a leg. I mean, here's Rasputin still checking in on the gas. He's still concerned about the gas in the vet. It's all right, Rasp. I got it. Boy, we got a lot of bums in here. Yeah, Jerry, I'm not calling you a bum, but hey, this is like the common thing. Everybody comes in, oh, you're getting married, so now you're like you're not gonna be a man anymore. It's like I don't know what world you guys live in. All right. But if I want a Corvette, I'm buying a Corvette. If I want to buy Dunkin' coffee, I'm buying Dunkin' coffee. I mean, holy moly. I make the cash. I pay the bills. I do what I got to do. Here's A-Team. And now A-Team's crying. A-Team, don't cry, A-Team. It's all right. Come on, A-Team. Yeah, I know you missed me on Friday, A-Team, but no crying this morning on a Monday morning. Holy moly. Bunch of suckers. Kimberly said her wedding. Wow, your wedding was on Easter? That's a crazy day to have a wedding. That's awesome. That's awesome. Congrats, Kimberly. We watched 30 for 30s. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, Rasputin, money comes back. I'll tell you what. You know what doesn't come back? Time. It's like, what matters? Everybody cares so much about holding money. You know, I was in church, obviously for Holy Week, for the Triduum and for the Holy Weekend. I went to the Easter Vigil this year too, which was a great mass. There's a reading in the mass on Saturday, and it talks about money hoarders and people who hoard money and people who act like every dollar you gotta hold on to every dollar. Bullshit. What's the story in the Bible of the talents? 3 sons, one has 5 talents, one has 3 talents, one has 1 talent. All right, the one with 5 talents goes out, uses all his talents, multiplies them, brings them back, and says, Father, this is what I brought you back. A job well done. The one with 3 talents goes out and says, I didn't multiply them, but I spent the 3, and I got back 3 more. Job well done. The one with 1 talent says, I held on to my talent. I still have it. I still have it. Away with you. Away with you. Exactly right. It's a great parable. I'm not in the business of hoarding money. I don't care. Money comes, money goes. Money is to be used. It's a tool. It's a man-made piece of paper. It's not as awesome as you all think, I promise. Holy shit. That's right, Z. That's right, Mike. He buried it. He buried it. And it didn't go well for him, did it, Mike? It didn't go well for him. It's the same concept, Rasputin. It's wasted potential, but it's also the same thing. Oh, look at Keese. Oh, Keese. Keese and Jason. Everybody's crying this morning. Only one who's not crying is my boy Maya. It's Secunda. Actually, was he crying too? Secunda, tell me, you were probably crying earlier too. Let's be real. Let's be real. You were probably crying too. Twiz is crying. JD3, you crying? Nah, JD3's trolling. Here's Jason. No, it's crying. Jason, that's your default response every time I call your ass out. All right. Sometimes you guys need it. Jalen squat 600. Maybe the Ram can haul that ass on up out of here. Underdog choosing violence this morning. Underdog choosing violence this morning. Use that Ram and gut them out of here. Y'all can't be let. Oh, I cook these fools daily, JD3. Are you kidding me? I cook these fools daily. I cook these fools daily. Trying to give you wisdom, Grasshopper. I'll take your wisdom, Twiz. You know, Twiz, speaking of wisdom, somebody gave me a piece of wisdom, and they said this. He said, take every piece of advice and 50% of it is 100% bullshit. 50% might be good, but you better check it. You better gauge it. 50% of advice is bullshit and doesn't apply. I mean, I thought, it's like I got the wedding in June. It's like you guys are micromanaging me more than my damn fiance. She doesn't micromanage me at all. She knows I got my head screwed on straight. She knows the vision. She knows what we're working toward. Bunch of micromanagers in here. Worried about my coffee order and my gas tank. Unbelievable. Kimberly, that's the truth. That ring's already on her finger, Ras. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, man. Good to be back on a Monday morning. Birds 365. Yeah, I'll give you a little tidbit. Pre-Canaan. We went to Pre-Canaan. Big Mike, the one thing they asked us, there was this thing, right? It was both. We're going to ask a question, and both of you have to answer it. Write your answer on a piece of paper, and then you give the piece of paper to your fiance after, okay? There was many questions that this was for. The one question was, what's the most amount of money your fiance can, or husband or wife can spend without getting approval? That was a question. That was the question. What's the most? And then you had to write the answer, and then you shared it with them after. Okay. My fiance and I put the exact same answer. My fiance and I both put the exact same answer. Anybody want to take a stab at what the answer was? Twiz says under 1K. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. There was people in the class that were like $300, $500, $1,000. One girl was bitching because her guy went out and bought a truck. My fiance and I both put unlimited. Unlimited. She put unlimited because I trust you. When you're not a dumbass, you don't make dumbass decisions. Keith, don't project on me, Keith. Worry about your own life, Keith. Fucking projecting on me. Ooh, I got divorced. That means everybody gets divorced. Yeah, okay. Projection. I'm out here fending off your projections like this. Boom, boom, boom. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Christopher, $100. $100. I spend $100 every hour. Are you kidding me? $100. You got to be kidding me. Big Mike, we 100% were. We were the only ones. It was the biggest pre-Cana class they ever had. There was 35 couples in the class. 35 couples in the class. We were the only ones with that answer. I gave her a fist pound and we rolled on. $100.50. Exactly, Jerry. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I'm done ripping you fools today. You guys want to talk about the Eagles? Or are you guys done with them right now, too? Because I'm just about done with them. Get me to this draft. I'm with Jeff Kerr. Get me to the draft. I don't want to hear you guys whine and cry about Jalen Hurts for another week. I really don't. I can't listen to it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jalen doesn't want to run this offense. Oh, my Lordy. Jalen, shut up and run the offense. Eagle fans, shut up and enjoy the show. Ashburton, get me to June 2nd. Why? Because you got A.J. Brown on the docket. A.J. Brown on the docket is out of here. Kimberly says, yeah, Kimberly, some people probably got to get approval for their $5 super chats. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Rasp, you don't care about the draft? I care about the draft. I love the draft. Yes, bitch, I just asked you a question. Hey, Keese. Keese, I know you're on your period. Watch your tone when you're talking to me. Where's your stupid-ass question, Keese? Which home game do you prefer for the opener? Oh, good question. Let me go look at this schedule. Eagles 2026 schedule. And I should be able to see at least who they're playing. They won't show me their... All right, the 2026 opponents. Home, we got Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, obviously. And then we got Rams. Ooh, tough. Rams, Seahawks, Panthers, Steelers, Colts, and Texans. Ooh, that's a good. Seahawks would be pretty cool. Beat that Seahawk ass in Philly. Last two Super Bowl champs. Beat that Seahawk ass in Philly. That'd be good. I wouldn't mind a Cowboy opener. Rams would be good, but I kind of want the Rams game to be saved for a little later. I don't want like the Steelers or the Colts. That'd be stupid. Yeah, it's Jason. Jason, the last Seahawk game I went to at the Link was the playoff game. Me and my brother were there. We were up in the nosebleeds. All right. And we were watching that game. And I remember when Carson Wentz went down, who was that? Jadeveon Clowney, was it? Who dug his head or who tackled Wentz and his head went into the ground. And then we had who was playing? Josh McCown was playing quarterback. Yeah, that was an ugly game. That was the last. I was at that game. I was at that game. My brother and I were down there for that. Here it is, January 5th of 2020. There's a picture of us up in the seats. January 5th, 2020. There you go. Full flag game. There you go. Seahawks won. That's true. Eagles, Steelers. I guess I could live with that. I don't know. I just like people with the Pennsylvania Bowl. I'm like, congratulations. Sounds like the Pop-Tart Bowl. You know, who gives a shit? The Penn State, yeah, or the Pennsylvania Bowl. All right. You're turning into a jerk, Twiz. Oh, Twiz has been turning into one. Prince, Twiz has been a jerk in this chat for 6 years. What the fuck are you talking about? Turning into a jerk? Twiz loves being a jerk. I don't hate it. I'd rather you be a jerk and real than be nice and fake. Nothing worse than fake people. I hate fake people. Twiz, that's why I love you. I'd rather Twiz rip me, and be real than be a fakey. Nothing worse than that fake person you meet that, they're just like, it's constant buttered up, but it's all fake. You just like, it's like, yeah, there's nothing worse than that. It's the old saying, right? What's worse than a wolf? A wolf in sheep's clothing. That's it. Twiz, I appreciate you being a jerk. I think that's a good thing. He's the all shucks guy. Yeah, we're lady. Butter it up. Like, bro. Be real or don't, or save the conversation for somebody who wants to listen to the bullshit. I don't. All right, I'm out of here. Good show today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and for listening. I thought it was a good show. We were all over the place a little bit with Kerr, but sometimes that's a good thing here in the middle of the offseason. We had a good March, so I want to thank everybody for listening on the podcast on the JAKIB channel. Appreciate all of you guys for doing it. Appreciate the viewers over on my garage channel. We had a good week. I went on there last night. I'm like, let me check my stats. I had a short my short went crazy. How much does it here for all you people worried about gas? You were all in here today. Rasputin was crying about gas. Jason was crying about my $5 Dunkin'. Twiz was crying about my Dunkin'. I posted a short on my garage channel. How much does it cost to fill up a C8 Corvette? It's got 15,000 views. Pretty good. Go and check it out. You can learn what it costs to fill that sucker up. All right? You can learn what it costs, and then you can come back tomorrow and micromanage my expenses some more. Micromanage the expenses some more. There's Philly Don. Philly Don, we needed you today. We needed you today. Holy moly, Philly Don. Now you show up, Don. Now you show up. We needed some truth, justice, and the big Philly Don way. Bunch of airheads in here I'm dealing with. Jammers, what's up, Jammers? Good to see you, my guy. Oh, all right, Z, always a pleasure. Thank you, brother. I love you, Jammers. I think your team sucks, but I love you. I mean, the Commanders, what have they... James, how do you feel that the Commanders had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with a quarterback on a rookie contract, and instead of doing the right things, instead of making the right decisions, instead of signing the right players, instead of drafting the right players, they squandered it with a bunch of old heads. They said, oh, the window's open. Let me just slam it shut. Now, thank Adam Peters for that. And by the way, what's the stupid owner's name that owns the Sixers too? I'm blanking on his name. I decided to forget his name. That's how stiff he is. Josh Harris, is it? That's it. Yeah. The honeymoon will wear off there. All right? The honeymoon will wear off there. That team will be looking like the Sixers. Philly Don's now trolling. Been here all morning. I got to make money so I can get gas and Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Yes, sir, Philly Don. Yes, sir. I love it. Uh-oh, now we got Prince and Twiz going at it. Now we got Prince and Twiz. That's funny. All right, I'm out of here. I love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. I'll take a wedding gift. Actually, I got to give a shout out to my boy Tony. Tony in the chat reached out to me. He dropped me a wedding gift. That was pretty awesome of him to do. Tony's done quite a bit for me. He's real dope, man. I appreciate Tony. Z, show us the register. You want you gonna buy some shit? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, A-team. I gotta be convinced. All right? I gotta be convinced. Prince, I'll take some stuff. You know, you guys want to get me a tank of gas, apparently, or a Dunkin' coffee? Like a Dunkin' coffee? I don't know. Apparently, you guys are worried about that. All right, I love all you guys. I'm done messing with you. Rasputin, you know I love you. Prince, Twiz, JD3, Jason A-Team, you know I love you. All right? You know I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES. Eagles.